1. And we are live here with the last real news till the big election, 2020 election. Last show till then, till Judgment Day. It's just fucking wild. I mean, we were already just talking about it. 3 days out, 3 days out. Tuesday. That's it. It's over. Well, it's not over because we gotta count a shit ton of mail-ins. Where do you guys think this is going? Trump gonna win? Are we gonna keep the Senate? Are we gonna take the House? Or do we lose everything? Go.
I think Trump, I think he's doing pretty good. Like, even the fucking fake news polls, like, at least in PA, like, there's some saying it's like either neck and neck or like Trump is actually winning. And when the polls start to do that, and they're going to be heavily Democrat biased to begin with, that's something.
Well, keep in mind what happened in 16. The polls, as it got closer, started to close in. Polls are not precise, they're bullshit, but they sometimes can show trends. And I think the momentum, which is the key thing right now, is in Trump's favor by far. Trump's got the momentum.
I agree.
Mm.
I agree with that. Like, at least in PA, it's seeming pretty good. Like, at least, I know you have some information, but I know, like, over here, I see a lot of pro-Trump. But I also do see more of those Biden yard signs. But then again, those yard signs really don't mean anything necessarily.
No, because the Trump supporters didn't have as many up last time because they were scared to put them up. I know so many people's doors I've knocked on their Trump supporters, they don't have signs up because they're scared. Why would you put a target on your front lawn?
I saw when I was driving through Pennsylvania. I was driving on the turnpike on my way into New Jersey, and I was crossing to there's like a huge bridge that crosses the Delaware River. As I was getting on the Delaware River Bridge, there was a crane going sky high, and on that crane was a huge Trump flag. Right, yeah. So it's like you can't help but see it. It's like I don't think I've ever seen the level of enthusiasm. I mean, there was a lot of enthusiasm in 2016. I think the enthusiasm is even greater this time around in Pennsylvania. I think for nationally, I'm gonna stick to what I said last week. I think if this is an election with that's run honestly, I think Trump wins comfortably. However, I do think there's going to be foul play, and I think that's going to keep Joe Biden in the game.
Well,
I think the only way he loses is if the election's stolen from him.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't been here for the past few weeks, but I've pretty much said the same thing. And as I said before we got on air, I'm more nervous for this election than I have been in the past.
Mm-hmm.
I'm cautiously optimistic because I'm here in Florida and it's a very conservative state, which is really reassuring. But then I also go back and like I'll talk to my friends in Denver who, although they're conservative, Colorado is a very blue state, and so you get things like that. And I mean, I'm pretty much where Phil is at. If the election were honest, Trump would win hands down. But the Dems are talking out, they're talking about contesting it, and as far as I know, they've already filed they've already filed the paperwork for lawsuits to contest it.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody
So
has. They're gonna contest it, And that's what I think is going to take the longest. I don't think the actual count's going to take the longest because even the people in the county I'm working on have said we're going to know the results by 11 p.m. election night. And the reason they can say that so confidently is because with all these mail-ins being thrown into it, the polls are going to be busy as usual, but during the day, it's going to be pretty low traffic. I think once, and it's always the case, once work goes off, the polls are going to be chaotic. But with more people doing it by mail, yes, there's less capacity in these polling places, but that puts a lot more weight on County Board of Elections, who actually counts the mail-ins and all that crap. The actual poll counting, the counting at the polls, should go pretty quickly. There's much larger staff. They're way more prepared for these things than in the primaries. And I know, at least in this county, there's going to be people at everything. We have so many poll watchers for both things. I just think that by the end of this coming week, we're going to have an unofficial results. Everybody's going to kind of agree as to who the winner is, but it's not going to be officially finally counted yet because there's going to be contested shit and there's going to be recounts. That's what's going to take a long time, but I can tell you, I'm going to talk about a Trump rally experience I had on Monday, but if you look at this picture right here, I have on the screen, I posted in the chat. Did I post in the chat or did I post the stream link? I posted the stream link. Well, here's picture 2. This is Trump tonight when he was in Butler, PA. Look at the size of this fucking crowd. There is probably between 50 to 100,000 people in this crowd. It just keeps going back. And he has, and I'm not shitting you, a literal fucking fracking well back there because he's in fracking country. You can see in the back right here the big American flag on it. This is amazing. This is a movement. This is energetic. You don't see this kind of crowd for Biden. There is no way Biden wins these swing states. No way. Legitimately, that is.
Yeah. I think he's in a good bit. Like I'm gonna stick to my original. I'm gonna stick to my original opinion. I think the Senate. I do get a little nervous about the Senate. So, because I mean, and that's something we kind of have to talk about too, because even if Trump gets reelected, like, I mean, if he doesn't have the Senate, I mean, there's going to be a lid on what he's able to do.
Yeah.
I think with the Senate, there's going to be, I think people are going to be looking at Michigan with John James. I think that's like, if he can pull that off, I think we can breathe easy. Yeah, like
that'd be a huge win. To me, that'd be the biggest Senate win of the night. Yeah,
because there's going to be a couple of them. There's going to be a couple races that we're going to have to look at. One's Maine, with Senator Collins. That did not. The fact that she didn't vote for ACB, that is definitely not going to help her with her voter base. I think. I mean, the only saving grace for her is that her opponent is pretty to the left. Like, so I mean that. I don't think that the far leftists are going to really win Senate seats. So I think she could keep her seat, essentially. But it's possible. I mean, it's possible, because I'm not sure. I'm not sure how much she won that seat by the last time. I'm not sure it was by much. I'd have to look into that. But anyway. So the other seat, Colorado, that's Senator Gardner's seat. Hickenlooper is going up against him, and I think he's up on the polls. Which, I mean, I always hate talking about the polls, but like he is at like Hickenlooper's actually one of the more popular people in Colorado. So I am definitely a little nervous as far as that goes.
As it's interesting that you bring that up because I'm actually originally from Colorado, and I can
Okay.
tell that I don't actually know if you guys knew that or not,
Uh-huh.
but I can tell you growing up there, Hickenlooper was very popular, and Hickenlooper was actually one of those Republicans that actually became a Democrat.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say this, relative to the Democrats that are there now, he's moderate in comparison,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't think that's going to make a difference
I
because
think I think that might actually translate better. Like I don't in the Senate, as far as the Senate seat goes. Now the House seats, the House seats are different because you're talking about smaller chunks of
right.
geographic area. So a leftist like in crazy Minnesota or New York City, they're socialists can win more likely in those areas. But with Senate seats, it's like it's a little bit more difficult because you have to really get the whole state, not just those particular cities. But yeah, I think that might actually help Hickenlooper more than hurt him. And of course, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm crossing fingers and hoping. Obviously, don't get me wrong, but I look at that one. Uh, in Arizona, yeah, Martha McSally is going to lose her seat.
Yeah,
I'm
she's
going to call it.
fucked.
I'm just going to call it. She may be probably the worst candidate in the Senate right now. Like she's just awful. Like and take like look, you lost this woman lost to a first time bisexual candidate, right? Okay, for first term candidate. Uh then the only reason that she became a senator was because the governor hooked her up with John McCain's old seat, right? And then so now an astronaut is going up against her and is probably going to take her seat, even though he's fighting, pictures of him dressing as a Nazi or something like that, like dressing as Adolf. He's still going to comfortably beat her, even if, like he's saying he didn't do it, but even if he did, he's still going to comfortably beat her. It's that one's gone. But so those are the seats that I'm worried about. And but I mean, but if there's anything that there's any consolation, we're gonna get the Alabama seat back, uh that Jeff Sessions left. And but Tuberville, I think Tuberville is gonna beat uh Jones comfortably in Alabama.
I agree.
It's gonna be very comfortable thrashing. Um and the one race that I look at is is the Michigan one with
John James.
yeah, Don James. Yeah, I John James. I mean I like he I think he has a better chance this time around than previously. And I'll say if he wins that race, I'm very comfortable about
I
the
will be
Senate.
so happy if he wins. I think,
Very
yeah, in Alabama, yes, the Republican's going to win. In Georgia, that's going to be a whole clusterfuck. In Arizona, Mark Kelly's going to win. Definitely. I don't know how big his win's going to be. That's what's going to be really interesting because that's going to tell you how Arizona's going to start going. But I am going to say, too, that, oh, finally I found something that shows all the Senate races. the one thing too that I am wondering is how tight. I think the Senate now is going to be very, very, very tight in terms of the margin, the difference. And I really hope John James wins. I think he is going to be the bigger. If there's going to be a big upset for the Senate, it's going to be the Arizona race, which really isn't an upset. It's kind of an expected upset, and it's going to be the Michigan one because John James came not too bad last time in a way tougher race. He's in an easier race. I think he's going to pull it off. If Trump wins Michigan, John James wins his Senate seat.
Mm-hmm. I could see. I could see. I don't know. That's a tough one. That's a tough one because Michigan. I feel like. I feel like Republicans can sweep Michigan. I feel like they can sweep Michigan because people are pissed. People are pissed in Michigan.
That's true of Whitmer.
They are angry. Like there's I've got friends that live in Michigan. I've got people like they are not happy. They are not happy with what's going on in Michigan right now. And yeah, it's possible. It's very possible that Trump could win again, and that John James could beat it. Like I think so. I think that'll tell me if I like his win will tell me if I can breathe easy as far as the Senate goes. The House. I think I know that the House will gain seats. They will gain seats. The Republicans will gain seats. The only question is how many.
Right.
And will it be enough? And will it be enough to take back the House? Because they're definitely going to win. They're going to win a few in California. There's going to be a couple here and there that I think are going to flip. That are going to flip red again. So the only thing is, how many? So
yeah,
it would be nice.
Like I think you're gonna see more AOC type candidates win, and I think on the right you're gonna see maybe some surprises like Loomer. Hopefully surprises us all. I love to see that. I think you're gonna see a lot of flipping and flopping in a lot of weird places. Like also, I don't know Amash's seat. I think he's up for, or is he not running for re-election?
No, he's not running. He's not running.
Yeah, he's not running. I see. So there's that. I mean, there's a lot of weird races all over the place.
Yeah. And I mean, there's gonna be. Look, we're heading toward basically a balkanization of political ideologies now. Like you're starting to see like, you know, the more liberal people moving to the more liberal areas. You're starting to see the more moderate to conservative people start to move away from those liberal areas. Mainly Texas. Texas is gaining a lot more. I mean, they're gaining a lot more. They're gaining liberals, but they're gaining like moderates. They're gaining moderates, and I don't think it's gonna have an impact like some people are gonna say. Like, I think a lot of these people that are moving to Texas, they get it. Like they're like, look, okay, this is what happens. This is what happens when you let, you know, Democrats completely take control of your fucking state.
I don't know.
California is fucked. Can I just say, on a side note, let's just break away from the election right now and say California is totally fucked.
I don't think
Totally fucked.
I think New York's really fucked from this too.
Oh, they're fucked too. Oh yeah, no. New York's fucked too. But look, California, like Sean and I were talking about this before we even got on the show. Before we got on the show today, what they're doing with these taxes are just fucking nuts. It's nuts, right?
California was fucked 10 years ago. Like back when I was in high school, my parents were actually thinking of moving us to California because they were, my mom works in tech, and like even though my parents are divorced, like my dad works in tech, but like, you know, uh our family was talking about it, and the taxes were bad like even 10 years ago. Not only that, but the cost of living in California, for like a solid middle to upper middle class is insane.
Yeah.
And that was 10 years ago. So, I think COVID was more or less kind of the tipping point, and now even the people who could originally afford to live there,
Yeah.
they're getting out. So,
They it's crazy. The state tax rate. So the state tax rate, like, it's bracketed, which is fucking nuts. But um so the max tax rate for California is right now is 13.3%, which is bonkers, just fucking bonkers. And they're talking about raising it, like they're proposing raising that tax to 16.8%. That's a fucking jump, right? Like, that's it. Not only is that insane, period, but the jump from 13 something to 16 something, that's crazy too. They're talking about having a wealth tax. So if you're worth more than $30 million, they're going to tax you at 0.4%. That's like,
in addition to the 16.5 already,
yes,
right?
yes.
In
That the wealth taxes, they basically assess what you own, or what you're worth, and then demand you pay 0.4% of that. Like, you don't even have to make income that year. Like, the fact that that you're worth that much money, they're gonna collect. Then they're trying to propose that they go after people that left the state,
How can you do that?
which of course is gonna
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
gonna fall flat. But
yeah, I've heard that a couple places that they want to do that.
Mhm.
But yeah, again, like, how is the question?
Yeah, no, I mean, it won't work. So the only thing that's going to happen is people are gonna leave California like a motherfucker if this shit passes. One, because well, I mean, the wealth tax thing, I don't know if they're even going to be able to do that, because the rich people are going to cheat that. Basically, they can re-leverage their net worth by, accumulating debt and all that other crazy shit. Like, there's ways that rich people can fucking basically get out of that.
And the ironic thing is the people who are voting for all this crap are all rich people
Yeah.
too.
Well, they're politicians, so that I don't think they're going to be paying.
Politicians, but also big tech,
Yeah.
you know, shit like that.
Well,
So,
they buy their real influence, their control over the politicians. They donate to these people to get what they want. And I don't know why, even if they actually support some of this stuff, but they they're more about kissing ass to get the shit they really want. Like, for example, they raising taxes. Yeah, they throw that in there, which hurts everyone, but they find loopholes. They write the loopholes. And honestly, I wonder if big tech might pull this move where they actually lobby the government to regulate them, but they only do it in a way that is like pseudo regulation. It makes it seem like that something's actually getting done, but nothing's really happening, and there's a bunch of loopholes, and they're 50 steps ahead of the government.
Hold on. Do you know, with regulation, you know who really gets harmed? Because big businesses don't really get harmed as much.
No.
Exactly, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
The small businesses get harmed.
Because they can pay like whatever fines or
Yeah.
amount of fees or use AI to do whatever, but like it's
Exactly.
not basic.
Well, we talked about this before a couple of times, and even with like the corporate taxes, it's like when we were talking about when corporate taxes were at 35%, the only people it really favored are big wealthier companies. Like the small, mid to small businesses can't handle that. Like they can't handle 35. And most of the tax loopholes are the only kinds of loopholes that rich people can take advantage of. So like when Trump dropped the corporate tax rate and he started deregulating, like he's actually starting to give these smaller mid to smaller businesses a fighting chance. And you think these big businesses fucking like that shit? Hell no. They want shit to go back to the way it was.
Yeah.
Like, so they can really press their frickin' press on that full control. I mean, now some people are gonna be like, well, what about Amazon? Amazon has gained all kinds of gobs of money. And I have to say they're probably a bit of a different story, because Amazon's one of those companies that actually captures the long tail of the economy as well. Like there's so many like businesses that run off of both AWS and the actual Amazon platform itself. So like I know if Amazon didn't exist here while this whole economy was getting frozen, we're probably fucked. And I think but for the most part, like, yeah, no, big businesses have no fucking desire. Like this is in part why, you know, a lot of these big businesses are not pro-Trump. A lot of them are not pro-Trump. Like you're seeing a lot of, you know, endorsements of Joe Biden and all that craziness, and they're funding Black Lives Matter, which, you know, is honestly, it's just a shill. It's just a shill for the Democrat Party. You know, like there's a reason. Like, look, I mean, this is money. Corporations only operate on money. Really, that's like their root. Like them or hate them, for good or for bad, money is the drive. Yeah, I know I was digressing. Basically, yes, California's fucked, New York's fucked, and that's pretty much
And
it.
all I can say in regards to New York is I'm really glad that I was able to visit when it was still a nice city.
I drove by Fifth Avenue a couple weeks ago, and I wanted to fucking cry. It was so bad.
Well, yeah. I mean, I've been to New York 6 times total in my life, so it's a special, you know, politics aside, and you know, I wouldn't want to live in Manhattan because of the pricing, but you know, it was always cool to go there as a kid and visit. And now looking at the state of the city just in photos, yeah, I'm with you, Phil. I want to cry too.
It's so bad.
Yeah. It's sad, and that's where I think this election, when they talk about COVID being the thing that affects people that's going to decide this thing, I think it comes down to these lockdowns. Do people want more lockdowns, or do they want to reopen? And the simple fact from what I've talked to people, and so it just makes sense too, is that businesses do not want to be shut down because they can't afford to be shut down. Businesses want to reopen, so small businesses especially are going to vote Trump. He's the one that wants to reopen. They're not going to vote Democrat at all. Throw into the fact that their businesses are being smashed and looted by Democrats in Democrat-run cities. Look, the working class vote, the blue-collar vote is going to come out in droves for Trump. I don't see anything else happening, especially given the pandemic, the draconian lockdowns from these Democrat governors, and the riots and looting, that the chaos that the Democrat governors have left in the streets. And look, a lot of these governors aren't even up for re-election, but that doesn't matter. It's guilt by association. They don't want Democrats all across the board fucking them over, and Trump is the one that gave everybody stimulus checks. The little people, as Nigel Farage would say, are going to vote Trump handily, and they're going to come out in droves. They're motivated. They're fired up. I'm looking at my map here from 30 days out. It's very similar to 60 days out. The only thing I changed was New Mexico from 60 to 30 days out. So this is the same map I've had for months. And I think Trump is going to easily win Florida. I think he's easily going to win Ohio. I think he's going to win Wisconsin. I think he's going to flip Minnesota. It might be tight, but I think he's going to flip it. I think he's going to flip Nevada. Might be a little tight. Pennsylvania. Man. I think he's going to win it, but I'm tempted to say his margin of victory might be larger than last time. And I think he's going to flip New Hampshire by a hair.
I think it is. I'm agreeing with you on that one, Sean, on Pennsylvania. And it's funny, I know you mentioned Minnesota. Trump stopped there recently. And that, to me that's big, right? Because wait, the last time that Minnesota was won by a Republican, wasn't that when the fuck? It was a long time ago. Might
have been Reagan. Or one of the Bushes.
I think it might have been. Yeah, I think it might have been. Shoot, I'm gonna have to Google that shit.
Fact check that shit.
Yeah.
Pull that shit up, Jamie.
Yo, speaking of.
You think they'd probably go more Republican because there's a lot of chunky folks in there. If you want universal health care, you can't. They're going to have to limit some of that cheese.
Oh, Storm Wrenches in the chat says Nixon 72.
Yep, Nixon. I kind of thought it was. Yeah.
Thanks, Gabe.
Well,
yeah, thanks.
When you talk about Minnesota too,
he ran. Wait, Nixon ran, and this. It's funny that you mentioned Nixon too,
law
right?
and order.
Yeah, exactly. Law and order.
And what happened in Minneapolis, Minnesota?
Yep.
All the fucking riots from George Floyd.
Keep an eye on that one.
I think it's going to turn red.
There's a lot in play that's like. Mm-hmm.
And it might not. Look, I think my map is going to be damn close, but I think I'm going to have a state or two off. I wouldn't be surprised. I wish I'd made one of these last time, because last cycle I kind of got close to right, because I actually thought Michigan could flip. But what's his A Storm of Wrenches in chat says only state that didn't go for Reagan. That's interesting. But at the same time, the states that will never go for Trump here are like Washington, Oregon, California, and New York. So yeah.
Well, because wasn't Reagan's opponent from there?
That would make sense.
Wasn't he from Minnesota? Wasn't he from Minnesota?
Probably. I'm not sure, but that would make sense. Imagine if he won every state. Holy shit.
Yeah, the Democrats, I'm pretty sure, would try to start a civil war at that point.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it's gonna happen as much as I.
No.
No.
I mean,
I'm
the
saying, imagine
usual.
if Reagan won every state. Like, he was that close.
Yeah.
Trump. Like, yeah, I don't
No, if
think
Trump won every state, dude, they would be throwing themselves off buildings. They would not believe it. I wouldn't
they could
believe
just.
it.
I wish they could just
Well,
throw these fucking socialists out of the country. I'm not gonna lie. I just like I wish they could
Over the
because
wall.
like yeah, just over the fucking wall. Like I fucking love that line, Sean.
I used to use it a lot in 2016, like over the
Yeah,
wall,
but
get it out.
because like I just to me it's just absolute lunacy that you're a socialist knowing the track record that socialism has in world history. Like I just to me it's just baffling. It's just baffling. And the only reason that it works, the only reason that socialism works in China is because they fucking take advantage of large swaths of slave labor. Like it's not so it doesn't even work there either. Like I
Oh yeah.
People are
Keep
fucking
in mind,
idiots.
people my age were never alive during the Cold War, so we have literally
Yeah.
no connotation of socialism. If anything, we have a positive connotation because it's sold as a seductive, nice, lovely thing. Oh, it's just, you get free college because it's a human right. Healthcare, yeah, it's a human right. You deserve it.
I remember seeing a Anthony Bourdain because he had a show. Anthony Bourdain, he had a show on CNN. Like, he had an earlier show that was way better than it, but like
yeah, no reservations
yeah, I
was
love that
way
show,
better.
but no, the CNN one was fucking garbage. But he went to China, right? He went to China and he went to all the nice spots in China, right? All fucking nice spots, China, Beijing, wherever. Like, of course, there's gonna be nice fucking spots in China, in those areas of China where all the fucking, where all the like, the government billionaires are at. Like, no, you. Why don't you, if you want to find exotic places to eat, go in the fucking go in the poor areas that don't have running water or electricity, where they have what do they have, Alex? What do they have? The fucking fake eggs or some shit?
Yeah, they have fake
Like,
eggs.
yeah,
They have
go
like
eat a fake egg, you fuck.
well,
Like,
no,
yeah,
they had
like,
a scandal a few years ago where they got caught like smuggling 40-year-old meat from like Vietnam.
yeah,
Vietnam War era meat was being smuggled and sold in China.
yeah,
That's abhorrent, and people fucking bought it, and like stores
yeah.
bought that shit because that's they don't care. For being supposedly a anti-capitalist country, they sure like every negative that they like that people have of capitalism. Like China exemplifies it. Like they have monopolies, they have just about everything that's pretty shit over there.
That's what's so fucking scary about China. And like honestly, because like they're the wor like somehow they figured out how to fuse communist ideology with like capital with like with like a capitalist economy.
Well, it's not really
It's not
even
really even that though. I mean,
just their what do they call it,
it's
China or
manufactured. All of that shit is manufactured.
it's
Like,
not
it's a
communism. I mean, I don't know how else you could really describe it. It's
their economy is 100% like, it's manufactured.
Well, what's the
It's just
economic term for a economy that has like rules and regulations over there? There's a term in econ for it.
it's a centralized economy.
Yes, yeah, that.
I mean, that's more or less what it is. Like, they use capitalism when it benefits them. They use communism barely. Like, honestly, most of their communist principles have probably gone away. Because I guess they have free healthcare, but I don't trust the free healthcare.
No,
They're like an authoritarian capitalist society.
dude.
Like, I'm thinking
And that's not like, yeah.
to a fascist society than anything.
Well,
If you think-
you got all it would sound like garbly goop again.
closer to a fascist society, if anything, because like that was their whole thing. Like they called themselves the Third Way because they fused elements of like authoritarianism and like some minor social elements. Like honestly, China's probably the it's like the antithesis of what it wanted to be, because it is more, if you think about it that way, because they're like maybe not as racist as the Nazis, but like they are.
They're up there.
They're pretty racist.
And I mean,
they are pretty fucking racist.
Concentration camps too. So I mean, it's probably closer to fascism than anything else.
Well, that's why I said it's like a modern day Nazi Germany. Like they have the Holocaust style camps. They have super weapons that they're creating. They hate America. They hate the rest of the world. They're building fucking islands to like do shit on, and they want to steal land. They want to, start shit with people. They're pretty much our generation's Nazi Germany, just not as stadly dressed, not as
You have to admit that some of those dresses look pretty cool. Like who is that famous? It was like, was it Calvin Klein who made it? Like there was some famous
what?
Like the Nazi outfits. It was like some famous clothes manufacturer who's still around today.
Oh shit! Who are we gonna cancel now? Let's find this out.
I don't think it was Calvin Klein, but it was one of those.
The only thing is their military as a whole is nowhere close to as good as Nazi Germany's was.
See, that's Nazi interesting about them, because they kind of taken the Russian sort of like they take elements from both, because that's probably more like the Red Army back in the day.
Well, I mean, look, like they have a lot of military technology. Like they have a lot of military technology, and like that that keeps them at a sturdy position. But like as far as troops go, no, they're not as good. They're not. They're a big downgrade from like Nazi Germany. They used to like, they had like their troops were like, it was a rigorous, like they went through rigorous hell like to become troops, and they were big, they were strong. I would say the next best army is probably Russia. I'd say Russia is probably the next best army as far as troops go. Like as far as troops, like quality of troops.
Were you thinking of Hugo Boss, Alex?
Yes, Hugo Boss. That's what I'm thinking of.
He wrote a book where he apologized for his Nazi ties.
Everyone in Germany did that.
But I mean, it's.
What was that?
Like it was crazy that like, and of course, like Nazi Germany had really good military technology too. Like there's a lot of the weaponry that we have now has a lot of derivatives from the shit that Nazi Germany created. Like,
I think they're more of a mixture though, because like China, they don't really make anything themselves.
But they have it. Like it's not like, yeah. I mean, a lot of what they have, they like ripped off from, and they buy like their anti-ballistics. They bought off of Russia, like their S-400, 300s, 400s. Those are Russian. So I mean. And they still don't have like their fighter jets are still not like up to ours yet. Like they stole our technology and they still can't get it right. And like, so like, I think like Russia, like as far as armies go, Russia is the next biggest, the next threat. Like I think financially, of course, China's, but we don't know. I mean, honestly, we don't even fucking know what China's economy looks like, because they're consistently bullshitting everybody. Like there's a whole lot of smoke and mirrors.
The thing with China you have to be aware of and you have to be concerned about is that they can just steal. Like they have so many people they could just throw into a meat grinder.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Zerg Rush,
Yeah.
They have over a billion people in their country.
Yeah,
so that's sort of where they can get away with shitty troops if you have so many of them. You know, it's just a fucking
Yeah.
In the
meat grinder.
chat, a storm of wrenches. When I was on the Hitler Youth page, he goes, "Vive on vacation, vive all on vacation."
So a storm wrenches is one of my guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
He also
I like-
says
I like the
Chinese
guy.
jet engine tech lags far behind. I guess. I don't know. I don't know anything about that.
What'd you say? Say that one again?
Storm of Wrenches said Chinese jet engine tech lags far behind. I said,
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it does. It does. Because a lot of what the military technology in the United States, it's constantly it's constantly being developed and constantly being tested and constantly being like, yeah. And then our anti-ballistics are obviously superior to theirs because we test it all the fucking time in Israel. Like, I mean, look, like a lot of the anti-ballistics that are in Israel, we created. You know, like General Dynamics, Raytheon, Lockheed Martin, they're all chip. They've all had their hand in creating the anti-ballistic systems that are over there, and we can't really test them here. Like we can't test them really at all in the United States, but
Put 'em
over there. Say it again.
Put them in Chicago.
Yeah, I know, right? Like, but it's legit. Like it's legit. And yeah, I just think Russia's might be legit too, but I don't fucking know about that either. The one thing that frightens me is the hypersonic missiles. Like that's the one thing that obviously frightens me a little bit, but like I don't know.
That's the one thing that frightens you. What about their big ass military?
Well, just the amount of people they have in there would be tough, and the fact that they have nuclear weapons. Like, because here's the thing: if it's going to go down to a war between two first world countries or two nuclear powers,
yeah,
very likely are going to use a nuclear missile at that point.
It's over.
You know, yeah,
yeah. Well,
and that's not
look,
gonna happen.
Realistically, well, let's be real. If one nuclear weapon goes off, it's pretty much the end of the world. Like if one nuclear weapon goes off, because they shoot it upward and the rest of the world is going to see it and nobody else is they're not going to really know where it's headed. So they're going to shoot theirs as well. It's over. Like it's over. Like the whole country's going to turn, the whole world's going to turn into one giant glass ball. And yeah, we're done.
I love how China's army is called the People's Liberation Army.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
They're not that good.
Well, yeah, what do you expect? All their gear's made in China.
Yeah, exactly.
How much of this? Well, nah, never mind. I already knew the answer to that question. Stupid question. Speaking of China, and Jamie pulled that shit up. Did we all see the Alex Jones, Joe Rogan episode?
I fuck it, dude. Let me tell you something about these Alex Jones episodes. I can listen to them sober, yet still feel fucking high, or trip it out when I listen to them.
I was like a kid Christmas morning when I saw it.
Here's the thing about it. I loved it, but I feel like Joe Rogan was just acting like you can tell he's probably forced to fact check like Alex Jones.
Yeah,
now.
he was acting
Probably.
different. It's almost before it felt like two guys shooting the shit, and that was it. But this time Joe was constantly fact checking Alex.
Yeah.
Constantly, and I'm like, he's almost trying to like play both sides. And it's not to say you should or shouldn't fact check Alex. It's also not to say you should or shouldn't fact check Joe. But it felt like a different tone.
I think
well,
required to do that by the Spotify.
I think he didn't want. I don't think they required him. I think Joe doesn't like this whole. And let's be real. There's a civil war in Spotify right now. There are the people that are like, we hate Alex Jones, but we support free speech, and then there are the people that are like, we hate Alex Jones and fuck Alex Jones. We want to take him off everything, and he's not allowed to come on Joe's show. There is definitely an internal civil war happening within that company, and I think Joe is trying to play the middle, as he always does with everything, which is, I'm going to have him on, but I'm going to hold his feet to the fire.
Yeah, I could see that too, but I could see that also being like a requirement, like maybe in his contract, if you have Alex Jones on, like, okay, you're going to have to fact check and make sure he's not spouting complete bullshit unchecked. Not that he spouts complete bullshit, but,
But I'm glad that Joe did bring him on. I want to make that clear, because that is a big, as much as like the fact checking can be a big, band-aid on Spotify, it's also a big fuck you to bring Alex on. I mean, I do like that a lot. I'm really glad he brought him on.
Well, and I will, in Joe's defense, he did post something to Twitter afterwards, like on Bill Gates, and said that here's something that Alex is talking in regards to Bill Gates that is actually true.
Yes.
Yeah. He was saying it, like, literally. Alex Jones was saying shit, and Joe Rogan was like, dude, really? What are your sources? And they literally looked it up, and the sources were fucking there. Like,
so just to play devil's advocate, that is actually why I like Alex Jones getting fact checked.
Yeah.
Because most people when you bring something up, they're like, I always get what did you hear that on Alex Jones? Like that's always the retort I get from people, and I'm like, yeah, but here's the actual thing.
Yeah, I liked when he was talking about the carbon emissions or whatever, like that they're not like arguing that they're not that bad. Like he's like, it's actually might even, like Alex Jones was saying, it might actually even be a good thing, because plants, like, look, he was talking about plants need carbon, like we're digging up the carbon and we're releasing it back into the air, but these plants are needing the carbon to be able to, like, to produce oxygen. So, like, and so for me it was like, well, he was explaining, Alex Jones was basically explaining clean coal to Joe Rogan. And I felt like Joe Rogan didn't really know about clean coal.
No,
and like didn't. It's like one of those things that we kind of talk, one of those things that we used to talk about, like, as far as clean coal goes, but like I get so tired. Look, when we talk about these issues, I get so fucking tired of it, because we talk about these issues ad nauseum. Like, do you feel the same way? Because like I'm always, I feel like we talk about these issues, like each issue at fucking nauseum, and why it's bad, why it's and then I got to I got to dumb it down. But like, I fucking hate it, but like I feel like I have to do it, because the people that the people that are on the other side are either stupid or they're actively bullshitting us. So like, I have to, like, it's one of those things where I have to say, hey, I have to speak slow in a very sarcastic manner, because like, look.
Well, no, like, and I honestly, I heard about this stuff before you and Alex brought up, like the fact, there's people who actually say, that the carbon, like, that could be one of the reasons why we have such increased agricultural productivity now, because we have so much more carbon in the atmosphere, because they do eat it. Like, I've heard that theory before, not by Alex Jones, And I also heard someone else, I think it was on like one of Sargon's old videos, like talking about how global, like there was a French scientist who got yelled at because he basically said that global warming was technically a good thing because less harsh like winters kill more people than summers.
Mm.
Just the ice in the road, you deal with like you can't grow crops when it's frozen over, like with the exception of maybe a few, or like in a greenhouse. So like if it was warmer, it would technically benefit people, and if it gets warm enough, Antarctic becomes hospitable, we'd have a whole new continent to use. Like so, that's like another conspiracy theory that I actually think would be that's an interesting rabbit hole that no one really talks about, at least not other than like Alex Jones and sort of those types of people.
I love how he
yeah.
also brought the Bohemian Grove shit again, and they were
Yeah,
playing the
that's fucking
videos.
hilarious. That was so hilarious.
Like a lot of
That
what
was-
Alex was talking about in this podcast, I'd already been red pilled on, but there were a few things I did not know, like about Bohemian Grove, the origin of it, and a few other things. Like I've been trying to watch and listen to the whole thing, but I keep falling asleep. Not because it's boring, but because I'm super tired and I listen to podcasts right before I go to bed. But I need to re-listen. Like it's one of those things too where Alex knows so much fucking shit that he just rattles off. It's amazing how much shit he knows and he can cite and just pull out of his head. I need to like watch these podcasts usually like twice at least to get everything absorbed in me that Alex says because he brings out just so much. I would love to talk to the guy. I mean, he's got to be amazing.
See, man, we should. I wish we could get him on here one day because that'd be a fun guest to have.
Hey, maybe someday we can bring him to a campus near you. That'd be see. That's something that nobody's done yet. That would be epic.
Dude, people would lose their shit.
I know it'd
Could
be
you
great.
imagine? No, like people lost their like in Penn
Sargon.
State. In Penn State, people lost their shit with Sargon. People lost their shit with Ben Shapiro. People just lost their shit anytime anybody outside of the wacky left comes on to campus. Like they just lose it. They just fucking lose it. And Alex Jones would be like the pinnacle mind blow of the campus. Like that would be the ultimate.
Well, listen, I if Alex Jones were to like, I would figure out a way to get to Pennsylvania.
Who says it's gonna be in Pennsylvania? I don't know where we'd actually do it, but that would be lit.
Listen, I feel like even though Alex Jones is from Texas, I feel like he's kind of a Florida man.
He is such a Florida man.
But he's like a right wing Florida man. That's the of course. Is there any other type, real?
There's no other type of Florida man.
But
There's only Florida man.
Guaranteed though, if somebody tried to get him at Penn State, like there would be faculty that would be like protesting and shit. Normally, because normally faculty pretend to stay out of it. They pretend. They'll protest it too, but they'll pretend like they're staying out of it. Like you're like you only know, like we all know that they say their fucking piece behind closed door. We already know that shit, but they keep that plausible deniability that we support free speech, but they don't really. But like, I guarantee you, if Alex Jones came up to Penn State, they would be 100. Many of the staff there, like the liberal staff
they would have classes on it,
saying shit. They would be openly saying shit on Twitter, on Facebook, anything they possibly could.
No, they'd have like classes where they like fact check him. They'd be like, this is all the awful things he said, and this is the truth.
Yeah. Like I like, for example, like I had a media ethics class in my final season, and
your final season
was like, or for final semester, sorry.
No, I like final season. Let's keep it.
Yeah. But like, and the professor was talking about Alex Jones and how he's an asshole because he talked about the fucking child actors in Newtown, right? So like, and I wanted to say, hey, that wasn't, he was being facetious when he was saying that shit, but like, you know, but I was like, I don't care. I just don't give a shit. I'm like, I'm not like I could already tell that professor was like on the left and wasn't gonna fucking change. And was one of those ones that's like, if you're my enemy, I'm gonna fucking take it out on you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, look, I'm not trying to make additional enemies on my way out. I've already made plenty. But like,
Yeah, it's on my list. It's on my to-do list to get Alex on the
So,
scene.
so here's my question. Speaking of Alex,
mhm.
how how many of you made it to the end of that podcast?
I haven't
mean, I
yet, but I
did.
heard he gets hammered at the end.
Oh, okay. Well,
Back in
do
the
you do you want me to? I don't know if I should kind
Spoiler.
of.
Well, go ahead, like, because I'm gonna listen to it
So,
again anyway. But yeah,
so it's not really a spoiler in the sense that like it's, but Alex has been talking about retiring
I've heard of
for,
that.
yeah,
and his reasoning, and I understand is, I mean, he basically said I'm 47 now, and he said I haven't been in great health. He said, and basically he basically kind of admitted, much to his chagrin, that he did kind of go crazy in a sense, and like all the shit that he's seen has really fucked him up,
I believe it.
and
yeah.
so his whole thing is, if I continue, he says I'm 47 now, but he says, but if I continue, I'm gonna be dead by 57. So
There's
I've
no way
got
in hell.
to.
I see him as one of those guys that doesn't retire. I just don't. I don't see, because like, to me, he is one of those guys that's like,
I s-
he was born to work. I just, because he's always moving. Like, if you ever see
He
Alex
works a
Jones, he's
lot.
always moving. He's always moving. And there's just those people, you just have those personalities that just have, like, they're always have to be doing something. Like, you see it in Alex Jones, you see it in like Donald Trump. Like, Donald Trump is always working. Like, even when he was on quarantine, he was like, no, I got to be doing something. I can't just be sitting here. Like, there's something about them that's like, I have to keep going. Like, and if he ever retired, I think it would kill him. Like, I think that would probably kill him, because he's just it. Like, he'd be the kind of guy that if he just stayed at his home by himself, he'd be like, look, I'm just itching. I'm itching to do some shit. Like,
I don't think I don't think he would be like. I don't think he would like totally retire and that. But
mhm.
I certainly do understand where he's coming from
Yeah.
when he
Oh,
says
I get
when
it.
he.
I agree with you, though. I agree with you, Sam. I think I get. I like you. I understand where he's like, you know, he's at the point where he's getting older. The health, at that work rate, your health tends to take a little bit of a dive. Um, but yeah, I just don't think. I think the personality goes. I think the personality just takes over, and it's just part of those things. From a psychology perspective, I don't see it happening.
I remember him saying, like, about a year ago, I think is when the clip from this documentary was from, where he says, I only think I got like 10 years left in this, doing what he does. And I do think he has thought about it for sure. I mean, he's done
Oh,
this a long
you
time.
do. Like, no, and like, And with those types of personalities, they think about retiring. Like, it's not like they don't think about retiring.
Yeah,
It's not
it's
like
whether
they
they
don't
do it or
think
not.
about taking it easy. It like they obviously think about it, but it's just doing it is the question.
Yeah, I
Like,
don't think he would. I think one thing he might do is take like some time off or like an extended vacation, then come right back to it. But like I remember Milo even saying, "Oh, I've had my time. I'm gonna retire now," and you know I'm not gonna say like he'd move away from politics more and talk about other stuff. He never did that. Like he took like a
Well,
year off or something like that, which I
I
don't
think there's
blame him for.
a lot of it was tied to finances too. But
That's true.
yeah,
But it's one of those things too where it's like I know he's the type of person where it's like he just can't stop, and I think that's with a lot of these people that get to this level. It's not, and sometimes also the other thing too is keep in mind he might be done doing his InfoWars thing, let's say, but what's the next chapter for Alex Jones? And I don't know what that would be or if he would do that, but some people go in phases where they have a new chapter. Like I think Loomer, you're starting to see it, where she starts off as this investigative journalist, then became a social media sensation and provocateur in a positive way, and now she's
don't you
becoming
dare say
congressional.
Alex Jones. Don't you dare say Alex Jones is going into politics. 'Cause I was like,
First
that
of all,
would-
that would be
no.
epic. Second of
Yeah.
all, he would never do that.
Yeah, I don't think he would either.
Yeah, I don't think he
Yeah,
would, but it'd be
like
hilarious.
that would just be it would just be insane to see him on a podium talking about fucking crazy shit.
Talking about chai coms and
Yeah,
GMOs.
the Tricoms are coming to take us. We gotta keep fighting. Ah. Like fuck, man.
He's amazing. I love.
Yeah, like they were supposed to pass the budget 2 days ago. He's still on stage talking about the Tricoms. Like fuck.
Well, and I think one thing I want to bring up real quickly before we move on to something else is that let's keep in mind the reason that they want to censor him so much, especially from Joe Rogan. The left is like shitting their pants when they see him on Joe Rogan because Joe Rogan, and I'm saying this in a positive way, normalizes Alex Jones. And what I mean by that, it's not that Alex is, you know, some psycho, crazy wacko that, you know, and Joe Rogan's like normalizing something bad. It's that Alex in his show and the way the media portrays him turns people off initially, but when they see him on a very approachable saying like Joe Rogan, they are curious and they listen to him and they realize he's actually saying shit that sounds crazy, but it's actually fucking true a lot of times. And then they take a gateway and they go onto his show.
Well, what I wanted to go know too is like, who is that other guy on there? That Dylan guy?
Tom Dillon.
Tim J. Dillon.
Or
He
Tim
is
Dillon.
fucking hilarious. He is hilarious. Yeah, who does this thing on? He does this shit on YouTube where he fucking he imitates Meghan McCain. It's fucking hilarious. He doesn't really imitate Meghan McCain, but he makes fun of her. But it's fucking hilarious. I think the first time I watched one of those videos, I fucking cried. That's how funny it was.
So is he a comedian or is he?
Yeah, he's a stand-up comedian.
Because that's the one thing. Like, I mean, I love Alex Jones, but he did. And Joe Rogan did kind of get in on him on this a little bit. He did kind of talk over that Tim Dillon guy.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. It's, but he was actually like they were actually. Well, I mean, the interview. I felt like Tim and Alex were kind of hitting it off. Like it felt like they were kind of like bouncing off of each other a little bit. Like. There was a little bit of a feeling like some of the stuff he was talking about, like Tim was already like, oh, I read about that. It's like, oh, that's crazy. And then when there was a couple of times where Joe Rogan tried to do his fact checking, and Tim actually backed up Alex. Like it was like,
well, fucking Alex was fact checking Joe. I think more often like Alex was like, yeah, he's a.
Well, he was responding. I think it was his response. Like Joe when Joe tried to fact check Alex, then Alex would respond, and then it would be like, "Oh, wait, you actually, uh, you actually, you were actually right. Oh my God!" Like,
Well, I love how like when Alex is like, yeah, there's companies like these big tech companies that these big telecom companies that buy off politicians, and Joe's like, well, what the fuck are you talking about? And Alex is like, yeah, like Trump's inner circle, like he got rid of the lobbyists, but
oh,
the people around him have become lobbyists. What the fuck are you talking about,
mhm.
Alex? Yeah, like
So,
AT&T, they bought one of them. They bought Michael Cohen. Like, check that, and then they literally pull up an article that says exactly what he's saying.
yeah,
It's like unreal. Wow. Oh wow. Alex Jones and Tim Dillon was the #1 podcast when it dropped in America.
yeah,
Number
yeah.
2 was with Kanye. Did anybody see the Kanye one?
No,
Mhm.
I am
I
I'm
watched
going
a little
to.
bit of it. I watched a little bit of it, but unfortunately, yeah, I was kind of I got tired of it because it was like, I don't know. It was a little I like Kanye, and I like a lot of the stuff that he says, but it's like you could tell there's some mental issues going on there, and some of it like leaked out, and
Oh
like
really?
yeah, did you got it? Like, look, I mean, he does. I like a lot of what he says is legit, but like you could tell that sometimes he goes off. He goes off on the rails a little bit, and it's like, and that's part of like when you have like a mental, and I think he has bipolar or something like that.
He
So
does.
like, yeah, so you can kind of tell when he goes off the rails a little bit. So it's hard. It's hard. It's hard listening to somebody, especially like being in mental health as long as I have. It's like, look,
You
yeah,
see it.
it wears on you a little bit.
Mm.
And um but no, I like a lot of what he says. Like he's, you know, a lot of the stuff that he says is on point, and it's in a language that a lot of people understand too. Like that's I think that's a like people when people make fun of what Kanye West is saying, they're we're not really paying attention to the context of what he's trying to say. And like so they miss it, like, or they intentionally miss miss it to mislead people. Like, I mean, I remember his time in the White House. Like people were looking at him going, "What the fuck is this guy talking about?" Like, no, he was saying legit shit. He was talking about abortion,
Yeah.
talking about gun rights, talking about all like he was legit talking about legit issues within the black community. But like, but he was saying it in a he wasn't saying it in, you know, the most um the crispest of the English language, but it's like he's he's speaking in a language that's real and normal people can kind of, you know, and articulate like that can kind of interpret it easier. Um so it's like you got to, I mean, I don't know. It's just he needs to stay with that. I don't know if a 3-hour podcast does Kanye a good service, you know, because just because of the bipolar, the like the mental issues they get, you know, they can leak out like and when you're talking about that long of a, you know,
Yeah.
that long of a session.
it's like the debate with Biden.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, that's more dementia or whatever, but
Well,
yeah.
speaking of Biden, did you see Amy Schumer has endorsed Joe Biden today?
Oh my God.
What did you expect?
I am so shocked right now.
Who could have seen that coming?
I know,
I
right?
didn't. I don't know, man. I thought she'd be on the fence, but she. Yeah, It's very surprising, very stunning and brave, and holy shit, she does. She just manages to look worse and worse every day.
What do you
Really,
expect? She doesn't have anywhere to work out. She's gonna go back to her potato features.
Yeah,
yeah.
but she's a Hollywood celebrity. They have their private gyms.
Using a private gym, she's probably using a private fucking buffet.
Oh god.
I just went to a fucking buffet today, but you know,
Oh.
not a fucking celebrity either.
Well, here's something funny though. Unlike Amy Schumer, here's something funny, and Phil brought this up to me today. So there was this Biden-Harris bus that was driving through Texas, and Trump supporters, or who are a bunch of trolls, got their fucking pickups with their Trump signs and flags and started following it.
I heard about that on like the fucking Ask a Trump Supporter subreddit, and they got all triggered.
They said it was harassing it.
That-
How do you
I would-
harass a bus?
I would love for these people to see like the crew that used to hang around the Walmart at midnight. They thought that was harassment.
How do you harass a bus? By driving.
By being a Trump. Well, apparently I read somewhere that one of them sideswiped the bus. I don't know if that's
I bet that
This
did
is
not
where-
happen. Oh, the Biden-Harris campaign says that the Trump supporters attempted to force it off the road.
they're weak.
Oh my god. This is such a funny story.
This is funny. By the way, does anybody notice, on a side note, does anybody notice that the Harris is getting bigger on these Biden signs?
Oh, is it?
That's because
I've noticed that too.
Yeah. Good. At least I'm not the only one, because it's like at first it was Biden's big fucking letters with Harris small, and then the Harris just starts getting the font. The Harris font just keeps getting bigger and bigger. Like,
Oh my god, these people are saying that they're running the bus out of town.
these people think that's getting run off the fucking.
This is so funny. See, Mike, I know the campaign hates flag waving and shit like this because it doesn't turn out voters. But when you do it this way, this shit's funny because this shit goes viral. Oh my god, look at them. They're all like surrounding the bus. That's like the people that. Whoa, somebody did get into an accident. Yo.
I was right.
It was some bitch in some like fucking BMW, I think, or Toyota. That like, did they go after the Trumper? Let me replay the video.
They tried to actively get in the way or something.
Yeah. She's moving out of the lane. Yeah, she's changing lanes. Yo, she's not in her fucking lane. Yo,
You should be people lectures on driving.
yeah. She was moving out of her lane. This bitch. Wow. Yeah, that's bad. Wait, were you making a joke at me?
Yes.
We're not gonna talk about that.
What?
Anyway,
Who,
we should move
me?
away from cars and whatnot. Well, actually, did you see the ones too with the videos where when Biden was speaking and all these Trump supporters were honking their horns and the cameras picked it up, and so you couldn't hear Biden speaking, and he
That's
called. What was that?
I said that's great. What happened next?
He like insulted them. He insulted the Trump people. I mean, fine. It's so fucking funny. Did he call him like what was he called? Did you see
You
that
call
video?
them clowns or something?
Yeah. He called. He called them ugly folk.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
They start honking. Oh my god, this is so funny. See, this is like top tier trolling. Look at this video. Look at this video.
Can't hear it. Oh yeah.
I,
I can. Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna have to
That's
play it on
funny.
your end.
Yeah, that's funny.
I have to watch it later.
let me.
I'll play it on the stream so people can hear it.
The American people don't panic. Donald Trump panics.
The American people don't panic. Donald Trump panics.
And unlike Donald Trump, we will not surrender to this virus. Look,
Look.
President Trump is spreading division and discord. He thinks that he can divide us.
Why is he keep? And by the way,
won't
why?
notice his
What the
failures.
fuck is he?
That's what it's
He's
all
still
about.
hanging on to that soul
That's
of the
why he
nation.
shamelessly equates
So
Somali
stupid.
refugees,
It's
folks
retarded.
seeking a
Like,
better
what are
life
you
in
doing?
America, contributing to this state in our country with
Your
terrorists,
family's
as he
under
did last
investigation
night.
for fucking
We need a
corrupt
president
shit.
who'll bring us together.
Okay, you're talking to
Not
me,
pull
and
us apart.
you haven't denied any of it.
I'll
Like
deal with this
nobody in your
pandemic
family has
responsibly,
denied any of that
bringing
shit.
the country
And like
together
talking to us
around
about the soul of the
testing,
nation. Get the
tracing,
fuck out of here.
masking.
My mom was
It's estimated by the
watching
leading doctors
something
in
on
this country
YouTube
that if we
earlier,
just
and,
wore a
and
mask
she
for the
doesn't pay
next
for
2 months,
YouTube,
we'd
you
save
know,
Dr.
premium or any of
Fauci.
that. So we were watching like one of.
Look, it
She
is our
follows a couple of different
words.
channels,
As I
and
said, he said it with the disease
you know,
was
they
easily able to spread.
anyway they
And
do cooking or
politicizing
whatever.
the
Anyway,
vaccine, he should be playing. This guy
so
refused to
she was
provide
watching
schools and small
one of the ads
businesses
popped up, and it was
the
for Biden, and
resources
she and I both
and the
started
national
laughing
standards to open
because
safely.
it was something like Biden is going to put America in the middle class first by making sure that American jobs come back to America. And
Oh my
Literally,
god.
most of and that's another thing. Great, thank you for bringing that up, Sam. Like most of what the fuck he's saying, most of what Joe Biden is saying is shit that Trump is already doing. Like, oh, I'm gonna have a commission or whatever. I'm gonna have a team of scientists. Oh, you mean like Dr. Fauci and Dr. Birx and and maybe the Surgeon General? You mean those? You mean those fucking scientists? You mean and he's like, oh, we're gonna have a plan. Oh, you mean like Operation Warp Speed? Literally everything he's talking about is shit that Donald Trump is already doing. He's like, oh, he's gonna up manufacturing
he's saying
in the
that, but
United States. That's literally what Trump did. Trump literally did that, right? And it's like I don't know.
he's saying he's gonna do all that shit, but he's not.
He's trying to put himself in a position where he takes credit for it, like for shit that Trump's already doing.
Well,
That's
no.
what he's doing. It's a political move.
Well, no. What he's going to do is he's going to say he's putting America first, but then he's gonna sell us down the river to fucking China. And look, I mean, I wish that the Biden stuff had come out earlier, because a lot of the Democrats I do know that voted for Biden voted early.
Yeah,
So
yeah, they kind
I
of
am-
the handling that Hunter Biden stuff. I think they fucked up. That should have come out way sooner, right before mail-in voting. Like right before the ballots came out, because the ballots were coming out in October. They should have dropped this story last week of September or October, the first week of October at the latest.
Yeah, the last Biden ad I saw, he was talking about he had Bruce Springsteen narrating it, where he was talking about Scranton and how it's a working class city, and Biden's from Scranton,
Oh,
so
fuck.
he understands. Like, I'm like, oh, he's really playing that. He's playing that fucking card. First off, Scranton, he wasn't really in Scranton that fucking long,
No,
right?
he
spent like
did
a couple,
sell there.
what, a couple years in Scranton. That's like,
Mhm.
that's all he has, right?
Well, technically, by that logic, we're both from State College.
Right.
From Scranton.
Exactly.
We're State College residents, lifelong.
Technically, I'm Hawaiian. I'm a Texan. I'm from Georgia. I'm from literally.
They state you out in Africa, or not Africa, fucking Japan. So aren't you Japanese American now?
Yeah. I'm Afghanistan too. I'm Afghani too.
Oh my God, Biden was jogging to a podium. Jesus, they say he looks fragile. Cringe.
I laughed like a guy pushed him down.
Somebody trips him.
And somebody should tell Biden that Scranton is Trump country.
Mm-hmm. What was that, Alex? I didn't hear you.
No, I was gonna say, it'd be more funny if it's just a fucking thing of when he just whimsically fall, he gets caught up and he gets blown around like a fucking piece of newspaper in the wind.
Yeah, Scranton is very much Trump country. And
Yeah.
he's trying to steal that thunder. Like, he's trying to be the populist nationalist candidate. It's not going to work because people aren't going to buy it. I mean, he's going to go down as the second worst candidate to ever run for the Democratic nomination. The first will always be Hillary Clinton. He's going to be pretty damn bad, but not quite as bad in some ways. Funny enough, too, with the car honking that's been happening, there was the full thing Biden said when people were honking horns during his speech. He goes, "This isn't a political statement like those ugly folk over there beeping their horns." You know, he's trying to sound like Trump when Trump calls people like ugly or dumb or low IQ. He thinks he can be like the street brawler like Trump, and it's just so fake and mean spirited. It just
Well, he doesn't
work.
have the mental capacity to fucking pull it off.
No.
It's not even that. It's that he actually Biden from what I've heard is legit nasty.
Oh, absolutely. He's nasty. You can see it come out. Like, again, in the debate we were talking about it when what's her name asked him about why since you're the leader of the Democratic Party, why haven't you done anything about the stimulus checks and the bill? Why haven't you helped them pass the bill? And he just lost his shit at her. He's like, comes out all nasty.
You're
It's
a damn liar.
Yeah. Like when he
Jesus.
insults voters. You don't insult the fucking voters. He goes, "You're a damn liar." And he's like, "Let's do push-ups." It's like,
Oh, I'd love to see him do a fucking push-up.
I would have said that too. See, that was where the voter that asked him that question fucked up, was that he did get him triggered, which was good, but he didn't keep getting him triggered. He could have really made him lose his shit, but like, yeah, do a push-up right now, Joe. Show us that you're physically fit to be president. And then Joe would have tried and then would have like fucked up.
So make Trump do a push-up.
Yeah.
That's what it said.
He'd do the Chad lift. The Chad press. It's hilarious. Oh, God. Let me check my notes because I know we had a bunch of things we want to talk. Oh, I should talk about the rally. I went to the Litz rally on Monday in Lancaster. And it was my first technically rally. It was my first time seeing the Trumpster in person. But let me tell you, oh my God, it's a fucking amazing experience. These people came out in the rain, waiting in line for hours to see this guy. And I'm going to pull up some pictures. There were about 20,000 people at this thing. And when I got there, it was, I think, an hour before doors open, and yet I got in at the bleachers. I was very lucky. I got the closest I will ever probably be to Donald Trump, unless I meet the man.
El Jefe in the chat says his latest speeches have just been him yelling angrily at the crowd, "I'm old. I hate everything but Matlock."
Does he mean Biden?
Yeah.
I agree. Like, Trump gets fired up, but Biden gets mean.
And by the way, that is a classic callback to The Simpsons and Homer's dad.
Yeah. Yeah, Biden comes off as a mean, angry old man, and Trump's rallies are just a fun love fest.
But that's what I want to know. That's what I want to know though too, is like I know that we're like 3 days away from an election, but even so, how did Joe Biden even become the Democrat nominee?
Well, people voted for him. That's what people forget, is that, as much as people want to say they didn't want Biden as their nominee, well, you guys fucking voted for him. And I think part of it's the party. I think part of it is his name recognition. And the other part is that all the other candidates sucked so badly that of all the sucky ones, he was the least sucky of the sucky.
Elizabeth Warren helped out Joe Biden too.
She was also a pretty shitty one. I still would have thought
No,
that'd be
she dropped out. She didn't. She didn't drop out
prevented Bernie
until
from winning.
after. Huh?
She prevented
Yeah,
Bernie
she
from
she
winning.
hosed Bernie. She basically hosed Bernie.
Yeah, and I think in many ways Bernie should have been a nominee. Now, would he have? I don't know. I think, but he would have put up a very, very tight fight if Elizabeth Warren, I mean Pocahontas, wasn't in the race. But with Trump, though, like I think just the contrast is so powerful. Like when you're at his rallies, it is fun, happy, loving, just amazing experience. It'd be the happiest you ever be. Whereas with Biden, is asleep. He doesn't have people come up to his rallies. It's boring. It's uninspiring. When Trump, I mean, I saw people. First of all, I had to park like at a fucking strip mall because the real parking was like 14 miles away, and 14 minutes, and you had to be bussed in. There were people all over the roads running over to come see him. The place was just packed with people, and people were climbing on each other's shoulders to creep over the fence to see Trump. There were people climbing on top of tractors to see Trump. It was amazing. The just love, and just so many people wanted to see this guy. And I have to say, too, one of the coolest parts was what was happening before the rally. I don't have the video here because it's on my phone, but there was this one guy that was dressed up in like not an Uncle Sam costume per se, but like a let me try to find it. It was like a very American sort of clothing, and if you've been at Trump rallies, you know his playlists are just awesome. And so there was this one guy in this like American sort of outfit, and Billie Jean came on. And so he started dancing to Billie Jean like in front of the crowd. Yeah, he had like this sparkling shirt, this American flag, scarf, and people were just losing. Like the whole rally was watching this guy as he was moonwalking and everything. I mean, you don't get that at Biden rallies. You just don't. And it's diverse too. Like I couldn't tell you how many women were there, how many blacks were there. It was amazing. And when his plane landed, they were playing "In the Air Tonight" by Phil Collins, and I'm not making this shit up. When the plane landed, like everybody turned and was like looking. But you know how in that song, like there's the yes, yeah, the drum break.
Yep.
I shit you not, when that happened was when the fucking motorcade was making the turn and coming towards the rally.
That is some. That song got famous because of Miami Vice.
Vice, yeah. That's one of the most amazing scenes of like music in TV.
That's some fucking Miami Vice shit.
He should play it in
Right
Florida as Florida
No.
rallies.
No, people say that the "In the Air Tonight" is the unofficial anthem of Miami because of Miami.
Oh yeah, it's a great pairing. And like when that came on at the rally, they must have timed it. Like they must have timed it to like when the plane lands. But the fact that the motorcade like made the turn right at that drum break was like epic. And then when he comes on and then the speech ends and he does the YMCA, the place lit up like a fucking rock concert. Everybody was dancing, singing along, and when Trump started dancing, people lost their shit. It was that is my favorite part of Trump rallies, is dancing Trump and the crowd just like dance. Like everybody was just so happy. Just so happy.
Like him, as I've always said, like him or hate him, he does know how to put on You can't deny that.
Oh yeah, dude. It's amazing. And then like at that one rally, he got what was it, the Neck Boys, the Nelk Boys? I forget. They're like some sports channel. He got them onto the stage, and they were dancing YMCA with him. It's amazing. It's just amazing. Nelk, that's it. Nelk Boys.
The Nelk Boys, not the poor boys, right?
Not the. Yeah, what's with all these groups with boys in it? Proud Boys, Poor Boys,
Backstreet Boys.
Backstreet Boys. Yeah. I'm playing the video right now on the stream. Like he just like motions them to go up, and they start doing YMCA. It's fucking unbelievable. It's amazing. I don't see how this guy loses.
So Sean, speaking of the Proud Boys,
Uh-oh.
no, this isn't a criticism of the Proud Boys, but I don't know how else to segue this.
One quick thing I'll mention too before you segue is that Jack Posobiec was at the Litz rally, and I saw him out there. Really cool.
Nice.
Okay, that gives me a good segue. Jack Posobiec is pretty awesome.
I love him.
But you want to know who isn't awesome? Yoba or Baked Alaska or whatever the fuck he's called.
Fuck that guy, grifter.
So yeah. So have you guys seen this whole RV6 thing that's been going on?
No, what is that?
Okay, so apparently Baked he converted to Catholicism.
Oh God.
And I say that in heavy air quotes. And he and a bunch of other no-name streamers got together and decided to get an RV and travel across the country to help MAGA, right, and help promote for Trump. This is exactly the problem I have with right-wing grifters. When we have idiots like Baked Alaska, it doesn't fucking help anyone to
Does anybody care about him though anymore? Like when he was on Twitter, that's kind of where he peaked, but he has grifted from MAGA to Yang to no. He's grifted from MAGA to alt-right to Yang to Groyper. To now this.
Well,
fucking Groyper grifter, that's pretty sad.
That's I mean, yeah, no one cares about him, but my only concern is that the fucking normies will look like the fucking media will spin him as a Trump supporter, and then the fucking normies will
believe it.
Say, yeah. So, I mean, some of the videos I can send you one video. Oh, and he's also been macing people in public too.
Chris
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Fucking Chris racing fucking random people.
I saw that a tweet. Yeah, it says fuck, where is it? Baked Alaska and Dope District teamed up to assault two people with pepper spray today in New Orleans. Baked Alaska supplied the mace and live streamed it. Of course he did. Dope District got into an argument with the people 5 minutes before attacking them. Hashtag RV6.
He calls it content juice.
Oh, is that what it is? He's such a fucking idiot. You know he's a drug addict.
Yeah, he didn't steal ice poseidons or someone's like cocaine, or was that the other guy?
He was with Ice Poseidon. I mean, I'm not sure if he was with Ice Poseidon in this, but yeah, he hangs out in that crowd.
Such a fucking idiot. He's like I think the best way I can describe him is he's the Logan Paul of politics. Like he looks like him.
Oh my god, that might be the best description. Yeah, I just put in.
Yeah, you can't beat it, can you?
Reminds me of fucking Andy Worski.
He's Andy Worski light basically. But my my point being is like one of my libtard neighbors brought him up the other day and as like an evidence of like a racist, of like an evil Trump supporter, and I just laughed and said, "Hey, the vast majority of conservatives don't even know who." Like if you're like my mom and you follow like mainstream conservatism, like you don't know who Baked Alaska even is. And even if you do, mostly all Trump supporters are like, these guys are morons. So
Well, I remember Milo used to employ him, and he said that like he was just a total fuck up. He tried to help him. I think he even paid for his rent for a bit, and he gave him so many second chances, but he turned out to be just a total fuck up. And yeah, it shows. I mean, it's bad. He just grifts onto everything. I mean, I think he's the pinnacle of grifters, like unironic grifters. He is such a pathetic guy.
yeah, I mean it's not really that big of a news, but I just thought
Thought he dropped some drama on us.
yeah, well, and I mean because it is so close to the election and these guys are being counterproductive. So
You can't really do anything to stop him. I mean, if he's like macing people, it's not some like publicity stunt, then you can get in trouble like legally for that. But
what he's doing, and so this isn't the first time he's made someone, but so what he's doing is he's doing stuff like he's like so these IRL streamers, and I know Alex, you know this, but what a lot of these IRL streamers do is they'll walk around with like their phones and then these loudspeakers and then like people will like donate super chats that will like say like really offensive stuff and like you know kind of provoke people. So he was just like following this one random dude around, and the dude is like quit following me, and he's like really nice about it, and then the guy's like, do I have to come out? Are we gonna have a problem? And Biggs is just like, stay back, bro. I don't want to, mace you. And then the guy's like, I just want to talk. And Baked mace him, and then the guy starts chasing him, and Baked runs, and I mean, I sent you guys the clip of it in the Discord.
Oh God, is this the Baked Alaskan macing people for them likes, for them clicks?
Yeah, yep. Baked macing people for content.
Maced Alaska.
yeah, jeez.
I will say this, like I kind of supported him when he did and I mean it wasn't even that good, but I liked the idea that he did a pro cop song, so even though we love our cops is cringe, I still kind of liked it.
Well, he also made a Yang Gang fucking music video. I have a
Oh
personal
God.
connection to Baked actually, kind of, because I think I told Alex and Phil this, but so oh God, I see him macing. Oh, dude, the guy's coming at him. Watch, he's gonna get like beat up or shot because of this shit. You're gonna see his like fucking face on TV. What's stupid is this is all on video. I mean, really, really stupid. This guy's gonna get arrested. Baked Alaska's gonna get thrown in jail. He's gonna go in jail before Hillary Clinton does.
Raped Alaska in jail.
Jail Alaska. Oh my God. Well,
I
what I was gonna say though is that with
I
when
love I
Mhm.
love the way all these IRL streamers run too. Shit,
Yeah.
they run like complete morons.
And everybody in the chat's like, LOL, like fucking pussy. Oh, is that a security guard that's talking to him? She's like, what the fuck are you doing here, you dumbass motherfucker?
Well, what do you think's gonna happen? Like, you know, why do you think these people give super chats? It's because they love to see them get into shit. Like, I think Andy Worski was one who did that with like people who keep saying like the N word on the super chat, then like some guy like attacked him or whatever, like started to throw shit at him, and then he like had his friend try to shoot him or something.
Mm-hmm. Wait, what?
Yeah.
His friend tried to shoot him?
Yeah, like that was a whole thing. Like with that wasn't Big Galasso. That was fucking Andy Worski. That was like back. That was kind of like the last thing I heard of him was like his friend got like sent to jail because he told him like aim and fire the gun at somebody.
The fuck?
Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Well, what I was gonna mention though is that I think I've explained to you before, Sam, but when I was in Turning Point, my chapter at the time, well, I was gonna say my boss, but I guess say our chapter. Like every chapter has a field rep that looks over the chapter and other chapters in their territory, and above them is like a regional field organizer director. That's kind of what I'm
Right.
doing for the campaign right now. But there was a fucking what was it? It was a debate. I think it was the first presidential debate, and Turning Point was there. I think getting people registered to vote or something because it was in Ohio, and Baked Alaska came up to these two guys and started like drilling them with questions and whatnot. And I quickly realized that the two people in the video were my former, I guess you could call him a boss, former field rep and regional director. I forget what his position was, but they were my two former Turning Point people that like looked over our chapter and other shit. And he started like grilling them, and then he brought up one, like who they're voting for. He found the one guy isn't voting for Trump and went off on that and was actually voting Jurgensen. And then he then asked the Nick Fuentes question, and they acted like they didn't know who he was. And then the one guy started like shoving, how do you describe it? Like he started like saying, "Oh, we gotta go," and took, and started like pushing, not physically, but you know what I mean, like trying to get out there and pushing the field organizer for Turning Point out with him, and Bakes was just losing his shit. And
Did you ever?
To be fair, I put on him because those people shouldn't be fucking voting for jail.
yeah, I know, and I think the thing too is that, look, Nick and I probably agree on quite a lot of things, but also disagree on some big things. But I would never act like I don't know him, and I would never just dodge it like that. I mean, I understand Turning Point's in a weird position, especially if you're employed with them, but just just handle that better.
Did you ever? So, did you ever meet uh Baked when he was working with Milo and Milo came to uh campus?
Milo never came to Penn State.
He was
Oh, I
supposed to, but he never did.
oh I thought he. Oh, you had him on the radio show. That's right.
Yes.
My bad.
And that was way after he cut ties with Baked Alaska.
Yeah, he was only with Baked for a bit. And I think that was back in when he was doing his like campus tours in 2015, 16, and Bakes was just a total fuck up.
Yeah. Well, because I remember that Gavin also gave like Baked a shot back in the in the Gavin McGinnis show days.
Oh, really?
But that was that was a while ago.
Yeah. The other thing I was gonna mention too, I didn't, I think, tell either of you guys this or show the pictures, but I'll post in the chat. But at our office, we got a surprise visit from the gorgeous, and I mean she's classy as fuck, Melania Trump. I was surprised to see her. They didn't even really tell me she was coming, but here's a few pictures from it of when she visited, and she's the real deal in person. She's oddly, it's really strange because she's odd. Like on the one hand, when she first walked up the steps and I saw her, she is very much this supermodel, this larger than life, like sort of, just like big figure. And I don't mean big physically, but like sucks out all the oxygen out of the room sort of thing, because she's a fucking first lady. But she felt just so normal at the same time. Like almost like you could just like sit down and talk to her and be like totally normal. Not like, ooh, this is the first lady. It's just like, oh, this is Melania. This is, so and so's wife that we're just gonna talk with, Like it's like no big deal. It's really cool though. Really cool. And Kellyanne was there too. Kellyanne Conway.
Oh, is she in person? Like, did you get to talk to her at all, or was it all just like some sort of planned speech?
No, as you can see here, they really didn't even do much speaking, to be honest. So what happened, and let me get the picture of Kellyanne. I know people on the stream aren't going to see this, but I'm posting it in the chat for the boys. But as you can see, there's if you're looking at Melania when she signed the thing by the pizza boxes, to the left there where the Secret Service are steps down to the basement. I took Phil down there today. Melania like came into the basement because that was the easiest access point from the street, the parking area with the motorcade or whatever you want to call it. And she came in, saw the volunteers down there, came upstairs, said hi. She basically just said hi, thanked us for what we were doing. And then Kellyanne did the same thing. She signed that thing and said that she got us pizza, and then walked out, and that was pretty much it. I mean, it was a quick visit. I understand they're busy and all that jazz. They didn't give a speech. I know they did that somewhere else, but still really cool.
It's kind of like when they had, Eric Trump go down to the Penn State one?
No, see, that was different because with Eric, and I think this is maybe due to the COVID shit too, but with Eric, you got to shake his hand, take a photo, get an autograph, say a few quick words. With Melania, Kellyanne, and even Laura Trump, I think it was other people that visited our office, it was just, hey, we're here, hi, thank you for what you're doing, and then they left. Like, there's no, like, interaction, really.
Yeah, I can understand that. That probably makes sense. You really can't do too much right now because of that.
Yeah, it's a shame, but so cool. Oh, and that was the day I got into the thing we will not talk about.
No, I hear ya. I was referring to the other times you've had car issues.
Oh god.
Multiple other times.
My Richard Hammond experiences. My Richard Hammond moments.
The reason people's car insurance is expensive.
It's because of me, okay. Oh god. Yeah, but yeah, so that happened. It's been a crazy week, man. It's been a crazy week. And on Sunday I got the new iPhone 12. And I've been using that for now almost a week.
You're ahead of me, Sean.
Are you on the 11?
No, I've still got the iPhone XS.
Oh shit. Yeah, the only reason we got the 12 was because Verizon and AT&T too, I think, was offering some deal where when you upgraded or switched, you get like basically 4 phones for almost free. Like it was a killer deal. So everybody upgraded, and if you were on an 8, you could upgrade to the 12 for only like $5 a month for 2 years, and for the rest of the family upgrades at the second gen XEs. But yeah, it's I like the flattened edges on this a lot.
Yeah, I want to get one because I need to get like a new phone anyway because Apple Care just expired on mine. I'm not going to get the Pro because that's overkill.
Yeah, it
And
is.
and and plus I already have an iPad Pro.
So what
But
the Apple Care, is that like your warranty?
it
Extended warranty.
yeah it like protects against like spill spills and like any damage for up to 2 years. So
I stopped doing Apple Care. I remember my mom would always pick, "Oh, you gotta do it," and she'd make me do it. I found to be just kind of a money grab in a way, because it really is like I don't abuse my phone or any of my Apple products, and even if you were like, I think it does it cover spills? I thought it didn't cover spills.
it does now.
Oh, that's new then. Interesting. I'm gonna look that up, but I just don't see the point when, like, if something's gonna go wrong with your phone or something that's actually really bad, it's gonna happen within the first year, and that's already covered. But beyond that, if shit's going bad, like, you're gonna upgrade anyway.
Well, I will tell you this, I have Apple Care on my AirPods and that has actually been worth it because one of my AirPods malfunctioned and I was able to get it replaced for nothing.
Nice. That's good. Yeah. I mean,
Now, was it malfunction from the, would that have been covered by warranty, or was it like something that was a manufacturer's defect, or did you do something to it?
Uh, it might have been a manufacturer's defect, I don't know, but it like one of them like started to like cut out and then like the noise cancellation wasn't working and like I was getting feedback in one of them, so
well, the iPhone I upgraded from was the 8 too. So I never was using the iPhones with no home button or Face ID. I've still been using the thumbprint with the home button with the smaller screen. I have to say, this phone, when you put my iPhone 8 on top of it, the 12 is only a tiny bit bigger. Like, it's barely bigger, but it feels massive compared to it because of that edge to edge display.
yeah.
Like, it feels huge. And I've gotten used to it now. Like, I got a spec case and a screen protector on it. I got the screen protector on perfectly, which never happens, but I'm very happy
Yeah,
with it. It's probably the best iPhone, period.
you saw on my I saw you saw on my Instagram I posted that got like a I got a new case on mine.
Yeah, I saw that. I considered it. I actually did look at it, but what was that brand called again?
It's called Phone Rebel.
Okay, let's show for this brand, Phone Rebel. I mean, why did I not go with them? Let me look at them because I'll probably remember why. Oh yeah, they were way too big for me. Like I looked at it, looked like a massive, like bulky case. I don't like bulky cases because then it doesn't fit in my hand or my pocket.
Neither do I, but the one I got was like pretty slim.
Yeah, the spec one that I got is pretty good. And what I like about the spec ones is they have nice rubbery, like, not really rubber, but they have grippy stuff on the side so you can hold in one hand and not worry about it. And their latest case is really nicely made.
Yeah, so
Yeah, so that's that. And, oh, what was I going to talk? Oh, since you're on here, Sam, we got to talk about, as Phil's impression goes, Sir Sean Connery. Sean
yeah.
Connery passed away today on Halloween at the age of 90. I was shocked to see that when I woke up. I've learned like a few minutes after the announcement was made, and I was surprised because Roger Moore died, what, a year or 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah, he died a few years back. Now wasn't he younger too?
Let me check. I think because Sean Connery died at the age of 90. Roger Moore, I feel like he died younger. Um,
I mean, he looked older physically, which was weird because like didn't they hire him because like Sean Connery was getting too old or something?
yes. Yeah.
But then he aged like milk, like on screen at least.
He did. Roger Moore passed away at the age of 89, so about the same, just a little bit younger.
I mean, I liked him. I did like the Roger Moore movies. Like he was, I think, up until recently, he was in I think the most James Bond movie of any actor.
I think he still holds that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Does he? I thought the Daniel Craig like overtook him.
No, I don't think Craig's anywhere near close, actually.
I think Craig is on par, but the thing it is Craig's Bonds have been released like every like 5 years, so
That's true. Well, I think Craig has been the Bond for the longest time, but he wasn't in the
yeah,
most movies.
yeah. And then Timothy Dalton, who is my avatar on Discord, he was only Bond for 2 films.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I remember. Wasn't it like the one? Like was that the guy who played Batman or something?
No.
I thought one of them like played Batman in something. Like one, not the new one, but like one of the older ones.
Oh, you're thinking. I think I know what you're thinking of.
You're thinking of George Lazenby, who,
He never played Batman. He played like a fucking underwear model in like Australia, I think.
He was a
yeah,
model, yeah.
yeah, that's George Lazenby. Timothy Dalton, though, let's see. He never played Batman, but let's see. He was uh he was Bond for he was only Bond in like 2 films.
Yeah. Yeah, Dalton was in two of them. The shortest was Lazenby. He was only in one. Which was
Yeah.
what. See, here's the crazy thing about Sean Connery is when they offered him the role to come back again for. Because he came back for Diamonds Are Forever. But they offered him to come back in. Why is my mind slipping? In On Her Majesty's Secret Service, which is one of the more, I guess, say, iconic, bigger Bonds, and he passed it up. He missed out. He missed out.
Yeah.
This was like one of the shittier ones. That was the one with Lazenby, right?
It is more of Lazenby, yeah. Well, he wasn't the best Bond, but like the movie itself
It,
was.
it, did, it did not feel like a James Bond movie. The dude got fucking married. Like that's
Yeah,
you
it was
know.
Bond trying to retire. It's like Alex Jones trying to retire, but at the very end, he gets reminded, like, no, once you're a spy, you're always a spy.
I don't know. I didn't like it as much. I didn't think you know.
Well, but see, that's how it goes in the novel of On Her Majesty's Secret Service.
Oh yeah.
Uh, but I mean, Bond got married in the book too, and then his wife got killed. But what I'm impressed by is that Sean Connery made it to 90.
Yeah,
I mean, so it was, it's bittersweet, but at the same time, it's not like some of these other celebrities that you hear where like, it's not like Chris Cornell who died at like, 48, or, Tom Petty who died at, 64. Sean Connery died of old age and he died in his sleep. I mean,
yeah. I
I
think
mean
his
if
health had been deteriorating recently, supposedly.
he, yeah, but I mean again, but Yeah, I mean that's true, but when you're 90, what isn't
Exactly.
deteriorating?
Well, what I mean too is it's not like he just had like a random heart attack and died. Like I think there was actually um like signs that he was coming to that point. I'm not sure. I need to check.
Well, to
But
be too, this whole pandemic probably didn't help him. Like at least with his will to live and mentally. Like, can you imagine that? Like, let's say you're that old, you can't see your grandchildren or anything like that. You can't do shit. You probably don't know how to use a computer. So what the fuck are you gonna do with yourself?
That that's one thing I do want to talk about with COVID real quick too, is like my grandmother on my dad's side is 91, and she's not starting, she's kind of had dementia, but I mean, COVID hasn't been good for anyone anyway, and then you add in dementia and whatnot, and oh boy, it's not pretty at all.
yeah. It's I think again, we talked about this in the early days of COVID. The COVID crisis unleashed an economic crisis, a medical crisis, or a health crisis, and a mental health crisis.
Yeah.
I think
No,
the Zoomers too are going to get hit the hardest.
like my great grandfather, he survived COVID, but now he's stuck in a nursing home, and like he really doesn't like that, and like he can't do shit. He's physically blind, like he's really not doing too well in the nurse. Like I mean, physically, I mean he's doing fine, but like mentally, it's got to be fucking very tough,
Yeah.
especially with someone like of that age, because he's already like 98. You know, it's that's not a fun thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
Being a nursing home at any age sucks, but like, to deal with it in the age of COVID, it's probably the worst. Like when you can't do shit, and like the only things you can do involve like other people, like seeing relatives and stuff. Because we used to come over for like the holidays and stuff. We go over there. We can't do that anymore because he's in the nursing home.
Did you see too that with Sean Connery, he died in his sleep in the Bahamas,
I can't
which
believe
which
I-
is where the first Bond movie was shot and filmed, was the Bahamas.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's true. Is that Doctor No?
Yep. Yeah, that's like the famous setting from it is in the Bahamas. That's crazy.
I mean, if I was rich, I'd be at the fucking Bahamas right now.
Yeah. That's how you escape COVID.
Yeah, like that's what the rich people do. They can afford to live and do fun shit while everyone else is stuck. So why not?
So the only Bonds left alive are Dalton, Pierce, Craig, and Lazenby. The two biggest ones are gone.
Yeah.
And they
What was that, Sam?
both lived to, really, they both lived a real long time, good long lives.
Mm-hmm.
So
What
hopefully,
did you think of Connery though as a Bond?
you know, as I got older and I got into the cinema, as I got into film, I really like him as Bond, especially like now there's so much that you couldn't do.
Oh yeah, I mean when I was
Like
watching these as a kid, Brosnan was always my Bond because he was the Bond from when I was early in childhood, and I always when I thought of Bond, I thought of him, and then kind of Craig, I guess a bit.
same here.
Yeah, exactly. And Connery's I didn't really get into till a little bit after that, but like it didn't take long, and then I kind of didn't at first understand why people loved him so much, and then as you said, you got older, you kind of understand it more, and I
Well,
associate him more with Bond.
and see, I like the fact that Sean Connery's Bond is probably the most politically and Craig Bond too. Like,
Dude, he's a total
if
Chad.
you watch, yeah, if you watch like Goldfinger, there's a scene where basically
Where he slaps a chick's ass.
yeah, he basically tells her to he basically tells her to go away because the men are talking, and then
I know. I saw that
uh,
like like a year ago, and both my dad and I were like, "What the fuck?" That sticks out so much. Like you,
I was laughing my ass off. I'm like based in trad pills.
yes, I know. I think, and the thing too is like it's kind of comedic, and I think that's how you can still get away with that. You know, it's not like that movie's gonna be quote unquote canceled just yet, but I think it's
Oh,
supposed to be comedic, but it is still like a big whoa.
I don't know. That was
oh,
fine, but shit happened like that.
oh,
Oh
believe
yeah.
me. Oh, believe me, that's coming down the line. Did you see Bill Burr's SNL
I think I
thing?
saw his opening. Yeah.
He was saying that like the left has gone so crazy that they're now canceling dead people, and it's true.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
They're doing it to
go
Connery.
and yeah, Gones in the chat says when Pierce Brosnan croaks, there will be no one left who can say they were in a good Bond film.
Okay, that's not
Yeah,
true.
I don't know. Well, who else was decent? Like I think who's the new guy? Daniel Craig. Shit. Fuck his Bond movies. They're not Bond
what?
movies. Fuck he doesn't even look like Bond. He doesn't even have dark hair. Like that's number one. Like I don't want to be fucking Chris Chan over here, but let's be real.
Yeah, you're right.
And then two, it's too actiony. Like I don't want I want a comedy.
You want a
Like that.
comedy? What do you want,
That's
Kingsman?
where they're goofy fucking like almost comedies.
So you want Kingsman?
So
I
you
mean,
want
that's probably more close to what Bond was than what we're getting now.
Well, okay,
yeah,
I'm not the biggest fan of Craig, but he's grown on me. And I will say what I like about his is that he's more of a like a brutal, menacing guy that you can that can actually fuck shit up. Whereas some of these other Bonds, I don't want to say they're wimpy, but they're not as intimidating as him. At the same time, I do agree that Craig lacks the suave look of a Bond. He looks a little bit too rough and like gorky. Again, I still say nominate Henry Cavill because he's the best combination of everything. He's big and buff and strong, good looking, British, and I could say modernized a bit. But I that's why I do. I think most of Craig's movies were all over the place. Um, like I think Skyfall's by far his best, but Spectre
see,
is okay.
Spectre was
Consol's
okay.
okay.
Quantum Solace was terrible.
Yeah, it's
I
not good.
I really liked his first movie, Casino Royale.
I when I first saw it, I did not like it at all. I thought it was boring and stupid. It's grown on me a lot. Like it
Well,
grew
I
on me a lot.
Compare those to the older ones. So, do they even look like if you looked at the original Bond films and what they were quintessentially about? Do they even look like Bond films?
They really they and this is what I didn't like about Casino Royale is that it really didn't because there was no Q gadgets. And that comes into and that's why I think Skyfall had the best balance of the modern stuff with the old stuff. And I think they need to reinvigorate some way, and that's what they were trying to do.
yeah.
But I think they need to do that once Craig is done. They need to really spice things up.
Well, it's just like they're not like the old James Bond movies. They weren't action movies. If you like at least not really. Like they had more of a comedic take to them. They weren't super serious Jason Bourne wannabe clones.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Like something got lost in translation along the way, and that's what we have now.
Do you want to know what Connery said in a Playboy interview?
What
And I saw Milo post this. He
I
said, What?
I think I know what you're talking about.
He stated, quote, an open-handed slap is justified if all other alternatives fail, and there has been plenty of warning when he talks about hitting women. He continues with, quote, if a woman is a bitch or hysterical or bloody-minded continually, then I do it. Wow.
Well, here's the thing. Like today, if a woman,
Like I said, based in trad bond.
He is.
let's be real. If he said that about like, if a woman said, "Oh, I beat men all the time," they'd be considered
Progressive.
progressive. It's just the shit that we have. It's kind of changed. Like society's changed. Some things for the better, some things for the worse. Like it's not okay to hit women, but like if a woman's hitting you first, what happens?
What if she's being a bitch, hysterical, or whatever the third thing was? Is a bitch, hysterical, or bloody-minded continually?
I don't know, man. Going to defer to Sean Connery for that.
But no, let's defer to the chat. Chat, let us know. Did Sean Connery do nothing wrong? Or no?
Like that's the thing, man. You can't really be judging fucking 70s and 60s shit by today's standards because those were different times, man.
That's true. That's true.
Everything, like, man, I need to go and get a copy of fucking Gone with the Wind now because I saw it like before they canceled it, like at fucking Walmart, like value, but I should have picked it up then.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, you should pick up Goldfinger too, because now that one's gonna be canceled.
I have all the like old Bond movies on like this collection.
Yeah, my dad does too. See, that's the thing that's weird about those Bond movies is that I bet if they made it that way today, with this sort of like kind of formulaic like 50 movie series, I think it wouldn't really work now. But I mean, there's something about those, and I think Sam feels the same way, that they're enjoyable for what they are.
They're fun. They're fun.
Yeah.
Now the books. See, it's interesting that Alex, you don't like the Craig, not movies because they're too action packed, but the original novels by Ian Fleming are actually pretty fucking dark, even for like the 1950s when they were written.
And that's where the Craig ones kind of took some like divergence from the previous movies. They kind of actually took more from the books and got more, because the books didn't like glamorize the spy life. It was very dark and gritty and realistic. And Bond was like, I don't want to say a misogynist, but he was more of a complicated man.
Well, yeah, that's the thing too. Like, I never really read the books, so I don't really have an opinion one way or the other. It's just judging a movie on its merit. I like the older ones better because it felt unique. Like now we have like Bourne, we have these other movies. Maybe they were more like the books than the original Bond was, but I like the fact there was this sort of almost lackadaisical movie series.
Yeah, and that's where I think the Bond movie's in a weird place right now. Is they kind of don't know what they want to be, and they don't know what can make themselves different. I think.
I feel like that's how a lot of movies are though now. Like, how many more?
Some of them.
Like, how many more Marvel movies do we need?
-5.
Well, I think there's like movie, like, I mean, we mentioned Kingsman, but one thing I'll say about Kingsman is that it knew what it wanted to be and it did it. You can like it or hate it, think it's great, good, bad, ugly, whatever. It does know what it wants to be, and there are quite a few movies like that out there, but there are a lot of movies that kind of follow this formula that Bond in many ways popularized, and other genres like Star Wars, movies like Star Wars, popularized. Oh, speaking of second season Mandalorian, first episode's out now.
I watched it.
I haven't seen it yet, but I want to see it probably like Sunday night, so tomorrow night. How was it?
Strong. I think it was good. There are people who didn't like it as much, but
Other already haters. Here we go. You know, I feel like that's a show that's like already gonna get like it's you're gonna get like a lot more love or like a lot more hate.
I like it because well, I like it because it's good, but I also like it because it pisses off the SJWs.
Weapons are a part of my religion.
They hate that, and they hate that the character is like basically a strong alpha male,
Chad.
and they hate the fact that like for so for years Disney was trying to sell us on Ray, thinking that oh,
Nope, they
that's what
want the
women
man
want.
and the baby.
Yeah, turns out that all the women can't get enough of Baby Yoda. So,
I really liked the first season. I mean, I was watching. Let's see, I watched that. That was in the winter of last year. I was watching the fuck. What was that show you wanted me to watch, Alex?
There's a bunch of them. I went to the.
The
I can't.
world,
Well,
the end of the fucking world.
I like that one.
Yeah, I watched that, and then I watched The Witcher and The Mandalorian, and man, that was a great pairing, The Witcher and Mandalorian. I can't wait till Witcher comes back on because those two shows were like my favorite shows of that year.
After fucking games, I can't believe what they did to Triss.
What was that?
After playing the games, I can't believe what they did to Triss. Like, I mean, I can because it's Netflix, but like,
I know I've heard a lot of complaints about that, and I think it's stupid too. I don't like that shit.
I don't know how you can justify that. Like, I get it maybe in the fucking books this happened, but really, no one gave a shit about the books until the games came out. Like, let's be real here. It's one of those things. Like, the books are made by some like Polish dude. I don't think they're translating English until CD Projekt Red took over.
Yeah, and then they race swapped Truss.
Yeah, like and she's got red hair too. Like, that's. I mean, I know it's magic and all, but like, she wasn't that in the books. And there were like other races, I think, in the books somewhere. Like, I know in the games they had like the Arabian people at some point, like at least in the one expansion, But I just don't like that trend of, reverse Michael Jacksoning people.
Yeah, it is stupid. I don't get it. Like, I bet they're gonna complain next with the Mandalorian that the person of color who's the Mandalorian, he has his helmet on all the time. So like when there's a main lead that is a person of color and you can't even see his color, is somehow internalized oppression or something like that.
If they want to see a person of color like in a lead role, they can always look at the movies, the new ones.
Yeah, which
I mean,
China loves.
Yeah, except for the person of color in there, and that's why they hide them.
Yeah, dude, that was fucked. Where they spam smart and try to hide him on the posters in China.
Did you see what they did with the McDonald's fucking thing?
Yeah, they banned black people.
Yeah, for being a communist country, they really, this is what communism looks like, folks. It's not this, fucking picturesque company, some country in like fucking Sweden. It's more like fucking Russia or China where they really, they don't have a lot of racial harmony necessarily.
There was this headline that just said, "Is the Mandalorian?" It says, "Emmy predictions: Is the Mandalorian the next Game of Thrones?" No, no. I don't see the Mandalorian like sweeping Emmys up.
Yeah, and I liked it. I mean, I didn't see the whole thing though.
You still haven't seen the whole thing?
No, I don't have Disney Plus, so I can't.
Damn. Do you want the free trials, dude?
I had it for a while.
Use another credit card for another free trial.
Never finished it, and my TV doesn't like it for some reason, so I had to use my PlayStation. My PlayStation isn't out there, so it's one of those things where Comcast doesn't maybe if Comcast lets me actually fucking play it off of their box like they do with Hulu and shit, that'd be cool. Or if they add it to the Switch, I'd use it.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, fucking Comcast, man. Like it's weird. Like you can get Netflix and Hulu and like Peacock and all this other shit on there, no problem. But like for some reason it did not like Disney Plus.
Ghost of Niccolo says, Mandalorian face reveal will be a woman. Expectations subverted, guys. Mandalorian will be a black female. LMAO. No, it's already been revealed who the Mandalorian is. Like, you see it in the fucking... Everybody knows who plays him. It's the dude from Game of Thrones, and he does take off his helmet in, I think, the second to last episode or the last episode of the first season.
Was he trying to be like Master Chief with that shit? I like a fucking legendary ending when you still don't see it. And like we still don't know what fucking Master Chief's head looks like. Like we need to fix that.
We
Like,
need to fix that.
honestly, like, fucking Netflix, you want to make a bunch of like bullshit movies of like famous game series. I know they try to make like a Halo miniseries at some point. Like,
Yeah, I think Spielberg was attached to that.
And I think became District 9 somehow.
Who was there? Was some. It was for Showtime. Yeah. Oh no! It's scheduled to premiere in 2021. That's next year, dude.
No, I heard that they had one, and then it like got canceled or whatever and became District 9.
I think that was maybe the original conception of it, but no, they're saying like Spielberg is a producer on this, and it's gonna happen.
I think it'd be a good Netflix series. I don't know about a full-on. Well, I just have a bad taste in my mouth when it comes to video game movies because they never seem to hit the nail on the head.
What was the one that oh yeah, The Witcher. I think The Witcher is the one that's done it the best. And I don't even know if you can call that technically a video game adaptation because it's kind of a book adaptation.
Well, yeah, but I think everyone knows about it from the fucking video games. But I think they're using a lot of the lore from the books, and that's probably what threw a lot of people off. Like,
but they also use a lot from the games. Like Henry Cavill played the games to like get a sense of the character, so it's like it's kind of from both in some ways.
Yeah, except for Triss.
Yeah, I know, which is stupid bullshit.
But no, like, I don't know. Like, I mean, I think that they did because, like, I was playing the games, and at least in the first season, there really wasn't anything that was like super like done much in the games. Like, except for I guess like Siri being around was probably more of like Witcher 3 because she wasn't even like at all in the first two. But none really cares about the first two, anyways.
And also, the voice of Geralt is very much like the game. And his mannerisms and his looks and everything is very much like the game.
That's true, too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It is mostly, I think, book inspired, but there's a lot of video game inspiration. And that's a show, too, that critics hated, but fans or people loved.
Yeah, because it was a pretty popular game series, and it was a pretty fun, if not like at least the first two were pretty awkward games. The third one was kind of decent, which I don't know. Like I like CD Projekt Red, like politically or whatever. Like the fact that they're a small game company fighting like these big juggernauts, but they're after playing enough of their games, I don't know how I feel.
Also, speaking of games, there's a big Star Wars sale going on in conjunction with the Mandalorian season 2 release. On the Steam store, you can buy a lot of those classic Star Wars games for like super cheap. I'm gonna get some after the show. Were you looking at those, Alex? I know I sent you the link to that.
I looked at them. I didn't buy any yet.
You have to do it quick because the sale is done tomorrow, November 2nd.
Yeah, I better get going.
Dude, like some of them were like I was surprised how cheap some of these were. Like, let me pull a ship. Did you ever play the old Star Wars games, Sam?
Oh yeah, I grew up on Knights of the Old Republic.
Yes. See, I never played the original ones. I still play the Old Republic, the MMO, but that game was huge.
No, you need to play Knights of the Old Republic, which is like from 2003.
Yeah, let me send you this link, Sam. You might be interested in these because these are like super dirt cheap.
I think I have most, if not all, of those games, either on computer or on like Xbox or whatever.
I don't have any of them except Lego Star Wars. I have that on my iPhone and on my Wii and PlayStation. I have the original Battlefront and Battlefront 2, but those were on PlayStation. And when I tried to emulate them, it came out really shit. I mean, it wasn't bad, but it was like, it had a lot of goofy stuff. So I'm going to definitely get the Battlefronts and the Knights of the Old Republic. But the new Battlefront, which looks gorgeous, even though I don't know how great of a game it is
Shit.
fucking cheap.
Yeah, because it's pretty shit. Like I have the first one, I have the second one. They're nothing like the old ones.
Yeah.
But Sean, can you play the new Battlefront? Because I can't.
What do you mean?
Well, you have a Mac too, right?
Yeah, and that's the thing is, like, if you look on Steam here, it will show you what OSs they can run on. The Knights of the Old Republic ones can run on Mac.
Yeah, they can because I have them.
Oh, nice. Yeah, a lot of them though are almost the rest are PC, but I still have my PC here, my desktop that I need to get a graphics card for. But the Battlefront Ultimate Edition for the new one is only $8. Like, that's really fucking cheap.
Well, if you really want to, couldn't you just like dual boot it into Windows? Like, there's a way you can configure that.
You can, but I'm not gonna. I don't want to do that. I'll probably end up getting a PC at some point anyway.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
game PC.
3080 or whatever, that shit. Like, you got enough money for that, Sean.
Yeah, I'm gonna once the whole the chaos is done this coming week. I'm gonna plan. I'm gonna be doing a lot of thinking and planning. And you played both the new Battlefronts, right, Alex?
I've seen some play the first one. I've owned the second one. They're both terrible, like pay to win garbage.
That's what's holding me back from because the second one's pretty cheap too at only $15, but that is what's holding me back.
No, don't buy it. You're not missing out on anything. It's like the original Star Wars Battlefront, Battlefront 2, like especially the second one because they had that Galactic Conquest mode. I love
Galactic Conquest.
Yeah,
the only thing that's pulling me in on the second one is that it has way more planets and maps and stuff.
Not fun. It's not a fun game. Like if it's fucking pay to win, no. Like
Yeah.
and you still need to get like a shit ton of tokens to unlock people. Like in the original Star Wars Battlefronts, you unlocked them. Like I think you came with like most of those people unlocked during Galactic Conquest or whatever. You would pay, but like it was part of the game. Like you could go and spend resources on that.
Yeah, I'm definitely getting the original ones because I mean the first Battlefront, I don't know, that's not really worth getting in many ways, but I'm just gonna have it for the sake of having it because there were some maps that are in that one that aren't in the Battlefront 2. But Battlefront 2 I played that for, there's so many hours I've clocked down that thing. It was amazing. It was so cool.
Yeah, I like the first one. I think they're both decent in their own right. Like I kind of like, that one had a decent story mode too. I mean, the second one had an even better one, but extra gameplay you can do shit with, and you could I think the first one you could like use the spaceships on like land battles because they didn't have the space battle part in the first one.
Did any of you ever play Jedi Academy or Jedi Knight Jedi Academy?
Yeah, I had that for the original Xbox.
Is that good?
Oh yeah, no, that was fun. You could go and like create your fucking own Jedi. Like, and you could actually like do swordplay with it. It wasn't like.
What about Republic Commando?
Oh, that was fun too. I had that for the original Xbox as well. It was a first-person shooter as a I think. I didn't get too far because I was a kid in it, but like it plays like a fucking first-person shooter. Like I think it's a Stormtrooper, Republic Commando, or whatever.
That's what I thought. Yeah, I might get that. Did any of you play Force Unleashed?
Yeah. Did you ever play God of War?
It's like that.
Pretty much, like quick time events. I mean, it was a fun game.
The trailer was awesome for that game where he like takes down a fucking like Star Destroyer with the lightning.
Quick time event.
Yeah.
Or destroy. I had a guy actually help my friend out with that because he couldn't spam the click button fast enough for it.
I might get Republic Commando because I know a lot of people like really love that game.
Yeah, it's a fun one.
Because I definitely
I
want to take
enjoy it.
advantage of these. I mean, it's some really good deals. So I think the Battlefronts and the Knights of the Old Republics are definite. I will say that's what I like about Steam. You can get some games like pretty cheap.
Yeah, that's the one thing though is like fucking Epic, you get them for free.
That's true. Well, what do they have this week? I haven't checked.
It's nothing. I don't think it's anything that good. But like the 1 week they had, like they'll give you like AAA games sometimes. Like I missed out.
Except
There's like I already have that on Steam.
well, they gave out
But
this all started the GTA free shit.
yeah, I have that. I believe I have that one.
What else were they giving out? What was the one you missed out on?
It was like one of those like Stalker Shadow of Chernobyl or whatever. It was like one of those sort of games. There was like another one that was similar to it.
Are you thinking of Watch Dogs?
No, it was like called Stalker.
Oh yeah, people in the chat, Rogue Squadron. Yeah, I heard Rogue Squadron was good. It's EA, don't do it. No, I guess I won't get Battlefront 2 then. Republic Commando likes that. Force Unleashed with Star Wars can until Disney Trilogy. Yeah. Okay, the Ghostbusters game is what's free right now.
And I mean, it'll add up to your game library. So if you ever get around to it, like I just download or not download, just get the free version. I got like this Vietnam game on there that was actually really fun. Like, I wasn't expecting that. It was actually enjoyable.
You played
So
Dark
it's like,
Forces too, didn't you?
no, I never. I heard that one was a really good one. I probably will buy that. I heard that one was amazing.
Galactic
Like that was pretty.
Battleground Saga. What was that?
I heard. I think that the Dark Forces was I think N64. So that would have been a little bit before I was really of age.
It was released in 1995.
Yeah, I think it was N64 or something. I don't know. That was like the year I was fucking born though, so I didn't really get too much of that.
Yeah.
My brother may have had it, but it's been long gone. I mean, they did make some pretty decent games. Like, definitely get the Knights of the Old Republic.
Yeah.
Especially if you like that old RPGs. But, like, I enjoyed that. I like the second one. I didn't play the first one as much.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna get it. Because I remember when I was a kid and I'd like go into game stores or when I was looking at Star Wars stuff, that mask of that dude, I forget what he's fucking called, with like the, what was that?
So, like, Darth Revan?
No, not Rev. Well, I don't know if that was that Revan, but the guy with like the white mask thing.
Oh, Darth Nihilus.
Nihilus, yeah. That just like sticks in my mind because it looks like the fucking Scream mask in some ways. It's like really like cool. And I was like, I always wanted that game.
It's fucking creepy.
I think
It
I
is
got the
creepy.
last level on the second one. I couldn't beat it. I was like on Korriban or whatever, and I fucked up somehow. I don't know if I broke it. Like if there was some sort of game breaking glitch, but I just couldn't beat it.
Goon says Force Unleashed on Wii had a killer PvP mode. Swing the Wii remote like a lightsaber until you win. Yeah, that was cool. I have to say, I love the Old Republic timeline. That they should make movies on the Old Republic.
They're thinking about it, and I know that before the Game of Thrones producers were supposed to do that.
Yeah,
but
they
then,
were. Because
I
it's
think
such a cool, like, like whole nother like mythos in Star Wars. Like way more things to explore. I mean, have you ever played Star Wars: The Old Republic, Sam?
Yeah, I actually have.
I love that game. It's one of the few games I like consistently play. It's just I love it. Valley of the Sith and KOTOR 2. Nice.
You should have seen Star Wars Galaxies when that shit was on. I used to play that.
I actually had. I don't know if I still have it, but like I remember my mom bought it once for us for Christmas, and we never played it because you had to subscribe.
Yeah, it's just fucked now. Like, there's free servers, but like, man, that like I didn't do that well. Like, I played it like after they did this shitty update, but like, my brother played a lot when it first came out. It was like one of the most in depth like fucking MMO games out there.
At the
Like, this
time,
amount of weird
yeah.
shit. Yes, like you could like get so many of these like different like weird skills that weren't even like combat related. Like, you could become like a dancer. Like, I was a wiki dancer because I thought it was funny. So I was, but like you could do all these like weird stuff. You could be a smuggler. Like, the space combat was pretty badass in there. That was,
Mhm.
and it was just like, in a lot of ways, just kind of better than, like, a lot more in depth. I kind of feel like, and I never even played it, so I don't know if this is right or wrong. I kind of feel like that new Knights of the Old Republic online game is probably closer to like a World of Warcraft clone than what that game was.
Well, no, I mean it's people actually criticize that it's like well, and this is the criticisms that it gets, but also the love it gets is that it's not like a lot of MMOs. Like, for example, when you're doing, I mean, the big focus on the Old Republic is the story. Like, you pick your classes and they have these stories that you go down, but that's the central thing, and a lot of the other stuff is kind of secondary. And what's really nice, I like, and I've gotten so used to it that I wish some of the other games would have, is like when you're in the cutscenes, picking up your quests or completing your quests or any parts of the story, it's all voice acting and it's all, scenes that you can interact with and everything. But I mean, I'm not trying to throw RuneScape under the bus, but like with RuneScape, it's like, here's your quest, and it's all written in text, and that's it. I know it's a different game in some ways, but it
Yeah, and
operates like
to be fair, this was made by some dude in like Java when he was in college.
Oh, I know, and that's what I'm saying. It's not a fair comparison, but a lot of MMOs still do that, and the Old Republic does have things like all the abilities like an MMO.
And the pay to win.
No, well, no.
Do we have real world money transfers?
Yes, they do, but it's I wouldn't call it pay to win. It's pay to expand and get a lot of the cool shit, but it's not like you can't do anything. It's not like you can't level up or can't win and stuff. Like, when you go into the multiplayer, the maps are set, or the yeah, I guess, like, say the maps. Like, the lobbies you're in don't have, like, depending on the level you're at, they keep a cap. Like, when you're at level 14, let's say, you can be in lobbies from like level 1 to level 15.
Mm-hmm.
But it gets a little ridiculous with how they nickel and dime you, for example, and they've changed this recently. So, for example, you used to only be able to have like 250,000 credits in your bank account, and then you'd have to subscribe or pay for an expansion or something to get a bigger wallet, basically. And with 250,000, you really couldn't buy that much. Like, you were really limited. But they upped it to, I think, 1 million now, or 500,000, I forget. But the economy's also changed in the game, where a lot of things are just more expensive in general. So
yeah, no, that's not good. Like, see, you want to criticize RuneScape, man, but in terms of fucking free, like, if you play the fucking free version, you can make enough money in there to get like the fucking paid for version.
well, and that's what I did like about RuneScape when I played it. That's why.
Shit, fuck you one. It's everything I said was bad about that Old Republic, like the pay to win shit.
Well, it's not pay to win. I'm telling you, man. I'm not criticizing RuneScape. I'm just saying it's like, it's a little different. But Old Republic is pretty. You do get a lot for the free to play. You just also miss out on a good chunk. You get like 75% of the game. And like for example, the expansions. Do you have all the expansions in free to play? No. But they
Hold on,
recently just gave
I,
people the first two, and there's 3 more that you'd have to pay to get.
hold on, you cut out for a second, or maybe I cut out.
Oh, I was saying with
You both cut out from me.
oh, that's weird. Yeah, it must have been connection issue. But what I was saying, Alex, was that with the free version, you get like 75% of the game. Normally, you wouldn't get the expansions, but they've now given free to play players the first 2 expansions. And there's, I think, a total of 5 expansions. So there's 3 you miss out on unless you pay. Yeah, it's a total of 5.
So now, is there a way for you to earn the to be able to like get enough something to be able to like? Are you able to go and trade membership or whatever they want to call it for that game?
No, but what you can do, for example, and I've done this before, there are workarounds. So let's say you want something that's 500,000 credits, but your wallet's limited to 250,000. Whatever you earn, whatever money you get that's over the 250,000 gets put in your escrow, and you can get on the basically the grand exchange of Star Wars, the galactic trade market. You can buy with credits an escrow transfer to then get that money out of your escrow and temporarily have over the credit cap. That was the term I was looking for, was a credit cap. And you could buy some of the pricier things, and I've done that before. The character unlocks. When you're a free-to-play player, you can only have, I think, 3 characters. But when you subscribe, you get, I think, 10 or something. But you can, in the cartel or market, you can spend money, real money, to get some of the character slots, or you can just get enough credits and buy one on the Grand Exchange Galactic Trade Market. And I've done that.
Oh, that's interesting. And they do that.
That's what I'm saying, is like it's not as bad as you might think it is. It's not great, but I wouldn't expect it from a, MMO, AAA MMO.
They have decent. Oh yeah, they have some decent ones out there.
Oh yeah.
Like, I don't know, man. Like, I was never a big fan of World of Warcraft. Well, I used to play it, but it was decent at one time, and then they probably fucked it up like every MMO does. But I hear they made like an old school version now.
Oh really?
Yeah, because it was better back then, before they fucked it up. Like RuneScape started that trend because a lot of these ones did fuck up a good thing.
I will say that's the one thing that's nice about the Old Republic, is they've never really fucked up big. They had kind of like a slump where they had to do this. They focused a lot more on the multiplayer PvP stuff and the housing. Like they create like a housing system where you could get houses. They also focused a lot on just all the sort of secondary stuff, and they weren't focusing on the story, which is what people like. Like they're focusing on events and stuff, and so they fleshed that out, and that was kind of like the lower point. And then once they started doing story again is when the game started increasing in popularity again. And so they've been back on story now for like the past 3-4 years.
Well, good on them for fixing what they screwed up. That happens more times in these sort of things than they should.
The Matrix Online has potential, but died off around the same time Star Wars Galaxy did.
Yep, I played that before.
The fuck? How do you play the Matrix Online?
It was a cool game. You like jacked into the Matrix, and they asked you at the beginning, "Do you want to take the red pill or the blue pill?" You hit the blue pill, like the game crashes.
Yo, the early base game.
Yeah, this red pilled game. Like it was kind of cool, but my problem with that game was like I didn't like the Matrix. Like it was cool to go and like jump around like Neo and shit, but like the combat was this weird like rock paper scissors thing, and the scenery like it's just this mega city. It kind of got boring to me.
I'm looking at screenshots and it just looks so weird. Seeing the Matrix as an MMO is just weird as shit. It just looks like something that just doesn't work.
No, it could have been good. I think there was like they had like you want to talk about story in a game like that one. Like there was some cool story tidbits in there, like in like real voice acting and stuff. But I think they kind of there was a few things that went wrong. Like one, it was a really early game, like MMO game too, so I don't think that helped it that much. And there's other issues like the combat was shit, and it could be a little bit complicated. You
Damn,
know,
man, this is why Cyberpunk 2077 is gonna fill this void.
it's not really an MMO. It's like supposed to be something else, right? I thought it was
Well,
supposed to be
yeah,
like
it's not an MMO. It's it's like a GTA type game, but set in the future. But I think that's like the one that would like get this sort of stuff right.
I'd hope. I mean, I like CG Project Red, but they they're not quite a triple A in terms of like they did have some bugs in a few of those Witcher games.
Oh yeah, I bet. Well, they got
There's
Keanu on this project.
Yeah, like I have high hopes for it, but the fact that it keeps getting delayed is kind of. I mean, I get that they're trying to do some QA stuff,
Oh, did
but
they have another delay of this game?
yeah.
It doesn't surprise me because I noticed my pre-order got bumped like 2 months later. Oh, whoa, okay, here we go. Today we decided to release the project by 21 days. I fucking knew it. I knew they would do this. The new release date is December 10th. They must have delayed this game like 3-4 times. Mr.
Yeah,
Beast, what if they kept delaying it until 2077?
that's the joke. There's like memes about that.
What will
Like,
we
I
get
hope
first, Cyberpunk 2077 or COVID-19 vaccine?
Yeah, like I hope it's good. I have high hopes for it. I just I don't know. Like they are a relatively small studio who's producing it.
I think that's the problem, and it's not it's not the worst problem in the world, because at least I would rather them delay and get it right rather than just fucking it up on launch, having a terrible launch. But I
It would have
don't.
been nice too if they would have taken this into account though.
That's the other thing too, and I don't know how much COVID's honestly affecting this at all. To be honest, it shouldn't, but that's the other thing too. Is like when you keep delaying it, like you're gonna really like mess with people with that. Like this could be like the best game ever, or like the most disappointing game ever.
Well, I don't know, man. Like I remember when that sport game came out. You want to talk about high expectations? They were like, "Oh, it's an everything simulator." Then you get to it, and it's like this cartoony bullshit. Like there's so much hype for that game, but it like failed quite miserably on most counts.
Oh, the guy in chat has. Oh wait, he's talking about somebody else. The guy in chat, I think he's talking about the Matrix Online. He said, "Continued the movies, Human Machine, Merovingian factions. LOL. 10-week delay. Yeah, it's likely. LOL. The biggest challenge for us right now is shipping the. Okay, this is what their statement says. The biggest challenge for us right now is shipping the game on current gen, next gen, and PC at the same time, which requires us to prepare and test 9 versions of it. Xbox One/X, compatible on Xbox Series S, X, PS4 Pro, compatible in PS5, PC, Stadia, while working from home. Since Cyberpunk 2077 evolved towards almost being a next-gen title somewhere along the line, yeah, that's basically what it is. We need to make sure everything works well and every version runs smoothly, where it might seem unrealistic when someone says that 21 days can make any difference in such a massive and complex game, but they really do. Yeah, 21 days is a long time. Some of you might also be wondering what these words mean in light of us saying we achieved Gold Master some time ago. Passing certification or going gold means the game is ready, can be complete, and has all content in it, but doesn't mean we stop working on and raise the quality bar. On the contrary, this is the time where many improvements are being made, which will be distributed via a day 1 patch. This is the time period we undercalculated. We feel we have an amazing game on our hands and are willing to make every decision, even the hardest ones, if it ultimately leads to us getting a video game you'll fall in love with.
Yeah. No, I mean, I like that studio, but I just do think this is like a rookie mistake.
Yeah.
That's what you're gonna get when you have a non AAA game developer basically making a AAA game. I wish him the best though. Like, I'll definitely buy it at some point. Like, I'm probably gonna wait a little bit because I've been burned before in the past with pre-ordered games, and I like to go and see how shit goes when it comes out.
Yeah.
Like at least some gameplay footage, because that's my thing. Like when I was a kid, I used to always fucking pre-order everything, but there's been a couple times like Spore was probably the big one. There's a bunch of these other games like I played. I think I played like I don't know if it was Spore, it was like some Dragon Ball game or something. It was like really shitty quick time event bullshit, and that was like nope. And ever since then, I really haven't pre-ordered anything.
Mm.
Now, if I ran to some money where I could get like one of them like 3080s or whatever that comes with it, that's a different story. But I don't expect me to just drop $800 right now on a fucking graphics card. Which, I mean, I'll use it and all, but I mostly play fucking RuneScape on my computer. I don't think that would be a wise monetary investment.
Yeah, because like when I made my pre-order for this game, it was on October 23rd. And it said I was expecting a January 11th. And I was like, well, that's I guess the COVID delay. But then it bumped up. I saw like a few days ago till February 1st. And I was like, what? This game is supposed to come out this month. What in the fucking world is that? And then now another delay.
Yep.
I wouldn't be surprised if this doesn't come out till 2021.
I think they should have just released it on like computer first, and then did all their other bullshit.
Well, I think you would want it to all launch on all consoles on day one.
Or like do the next gen, like, cause see that's this happened to like Grand Theft Auto too. When they had I think it was GTA 5 when that first came out, they were having issues due to coming out in like multiple different consoles, and it does create situations like this where you end up getting delayed because you have to spend resources on consoles that aren't quite up to par. And honestly, I would just nix the last gen consoles for this game. I just keep it on with the next gen ones because
I bet there's a good reason for why they're doing that, but I was thinking the same thing too. I mean, this game has been in development for like a decade, and I'm not even exaggerating. So
do you think that was bad? Look at fucking what was it? There's that old game. I can't remember the name of it. The Duke Nukem Forever.
no, what I'm saying though is that I think at the time they started developing this game, they didn't have a lot of info on next gen consoles, but I would think at this point there would be more of a focus on it. But I don't know. I mean, isn't the PS5 out now or something like that?
I don't know. I'm not buying fucking consoles anymore.
No, I'm not either. But I saw like iJustine and some other YouTubers like had them. Oh yeah, they're on eBay. Let's see. Is it available now? I think it is. Witcher 4 could be exclusive to next gen PS5, Xbox Series X.
I thought they said they weren't making any more Witcher games.
That's what I thought.
Like, unless it's gonna be some sort of prequel or sequel or plays like Siri or something.
Oh yeah, the PS5 comes out November 12th. That's it. So I guess the reviewers just got their hands on it early as they always do.
Yeah, those fucking reviewers, and they probably give, oh, you got a great 10 out of 10 console.
Yeah.
I
I just don't get excited about consoles anymore, especially when PCs can do so much more and on a bigger screen. Well, not a bigger screen, but like your bigger setup, you can put on a bigger screen or smaller screen, have your keyboard and mouse, you can Discord, you can stream.
Well, I think you can stream now on consoles. Like
Well, you
they
can,
do have a
but
lot of
it's not the
have a
same.
lot of that stuff now, but like
It's not
my
the
sort of
same.
well, it's probably easier, honestly.
It is, but like I like being able to configure my OBS on here, pull up my YouTube, all that shit.
I mean, with the consoles, though, it's for people who don't want to go and dump like a shit ton of money on like a computer.
Exactly.
And like I can see that, like, and the fact that, and the one thing I do like about consoles though is that they at least for now they still are making like physical releases, like physical discs.
Yeah. That's the one thing I wish this Cyberpunk game had, because I ordered the physical copy just to have it. I think it'd be cool to have, but it comes with a code. There's no disc, which I get is, I mean, when you're gonna have a gaming PC, odds are you're gonna have a disc in it, a disc
No,
drive.
not necessarily. Like a lot of them don't even come with disc drives. Like when I bought mine, it
Oh,
didn't.
really?
Yeah, they've been. I mean, you can always buy an external one, but now it's like honestly, there's not as many like it's surprisingly easy to like not have a disk drive anymore.
No,
Because
I
like
do know that, but I thought with gaming PCs it'd be different, but I guess not.
no, because that's more room for you to go and throw like coolers and shit.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense.
And the thing is, there's very few PC games that are physical anymore.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean,
Like
so many people buy shit on like the Origin or Epic Games or all those Steam. And I like that. Like, don't get me wrong. I just wish, like, when you get the physical copy, if they gave you like a backup disc for the game and like the code, hope it doesn't like expire or something stupid like that.
probably does, or use it soon.
Yeah.
As soon as you get it, pretty much use it because like some Chinese guy or whatever could go and like try to brute force it.
Yeah.
Remember, there used to be a problem with the Wii. Like, I used to fuck around with that stuff. I just put in random codes, and like sometimes I get stuff.
Oh, yeah. Somebody found boxes in a factory of the PS5. I think. What do you think of the design of it?
I thought the PS5 looks pretty cool. Looks like, did Alienware make that or something? So it kind of looks like one of their
It
computers.
does look like
Yeah.
that.
No, see, I never had a PS4.
Me neither. I only had a
I had,
PS2.
I had a PS4. I thought it was nice. Like, I thought it looked kind of cool. Like, I mean, it was practical. It was it looked like almost two like PS1s or PS2s put together.
When you
But
look at the PS3 now, it looks ugly as shit.
oh yeah, no, that thing was like a monstrosity. It was giant, but it was actually ahead of its time. So it used to like a weird like cell processor or something. Like, and it didn't operate in the same way that like an x86 processor would do things.
I remember saving up for the PS3 back in middle school.
I remember
Um,
how big of a deal that thing was.
Dude, I think I got it, but like the Xbox 360, like everyone played the 360, not as many people played the PS3. But honestly, the PS3 was pretty cool because you could like run Linux on there. Like they allowed you, that was one of the selling points, and they stopped it after a while. But like you could do a lot of really cool things with it.
I
Not that I
remember
actually
that.
did any of those, but you could.
Yeah, I feel like the 360 and the PS3 were like the big consoles of our childhoods, if you would call it that. And the Wii, of course, that's like in its own category. But like of the main ones, the 360 and the 3 were like, to me, those were like the biggest in terms of just being a sensation and moving things, being the stand, like the biggest jump it felt like.
Oh yeah. No, it was like compare like the Xbox 360 to like a Xbox original. It's like night and day.
Yeah.
Like the quality there is you just can't compare it.
Or even the
But
PS2 and the PS3.
like yeah, that too. Like that was a pretty huge jump. But like the thing is with the PS3 is a lot of developers didn't quite know how to optimize their games for it. Like I think Uncharted was like one of the ones that did, and that's why it looks so beautiful in comparison. Like I never played it, but I've seen like videos of it. And for being like a 2 generations old game, like it still looks fucking beautiful.
Mm.
But because they use this like autistic like cell based processor, it didn't really, developers don't know how to program for that efficiently because everyone's used to x86. Like, I mean, a long time ago, it used to be a lot harder to go and like port games because they used to all use their own like custom processors and all these different functions. But then like really the 360 and like the Xbox original, I think was actually pretty decently easy to compute on because it was like it's one of those weird things where it's hard to emulate it, but like it was based off of some pretty basics or like it was similar to a Windows computer at the time, from what I understand. But it was a fucking powerhouse. But like it just didn't have that many original games back then. But you know, like the fucking Nintendo though, they're the weird ones if you think about. Like they've always done things like kind of
Different.
differently.
Yeah.
Like in like ever since really the GameCube, they've kind of been, and I kind of like it though, because honestly, I think most computers are probably gonna, or, you know, outperform and outprice eventually like the gaming consoles. And if it's just graphics and power, you're better off going with a computer. But what a computer can't do is be a fucking Wii. You know, no computers. I mean, you probably could do some stuff now with like what you call like VR, but like look at the Switch. You know, it's a fucking portable gaming console, and it's not like a tablet where all the games are shit. Like these are real games. You can go and bring it with you. Like it's decent in both modes. You can still do with the little controller things. Like I think you can even use it like a Wiimote in some instances. I haven't really played any games that required that. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's something else, and I like that. Like they're probably gonna be the ones like Nintendo, the ones that survive because they knew how to innovate in a day and age where everyone has like a fucking powerful computer. How can you make it worthwhile to buy your console when you can probably buy the games cheaper on Steam anyways? You know, and like Xbox, I think they've been trying to like turn into like an infotainment system, like especially with the Xbox One or whatever.
I like that idea, honestly, because then you can have your Blu-ray player and your gaming console all in one thing.
Oh no, it wasn't just that. Like the PS4 did that as well, but
Yeah,
like
I
I think the
know.
Xbox One or whatever, the you know, not the 360, but the one after that. They took it a step further, and like you could do like picture in picture, and like they had all the like they really pushed like all these different like abilities, like view, like you could hook up your cable box to your fucking Xbox. Like it went a little bit too far, I think. But the thing is, you know, that people tend to forget is that even if the Xbox One does shit, you know, Microsoft isn't going to stop making games because they have one of the biggest markets right now. That's computers. You know, everyone who's anything with fucking gaming has like a Windows based computer or has, you know, like even if they don't have a Windows based computer, they have a virtual machine that can run Windows for the most part, you know.
I'm looking too at the timeline of these game launches and the console launches on this Forbes article, and I think the delay for the Cyberpunk game is absolutely the reason that they're giving, but I think there's some strategy in when they're scheduling the release of it, because on November 10th, which is like a little over a week away, is when the Xbox Series X and S comes out. Same day as that comes out, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Destiny 2, Borderlands 3 patch stuff for their next gen shit, and another game. And then November 12th, so that's 2 days after, is the PS5 launch. New Spider-Man game, Demon Souls, Godfall, and then the day after is Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. So after all that dust settles, you get to December, and that's when Cyberpunk comes out.
Yeah, and you also have to think like, you know, Christmas too.
Yeah, you gotta get out before Christmas. And that's the thing, that if Cyberpunk has another delay, oh, God, their sales are gonna really hurt. I mean, I think they're still gonna, sell them like hotcakes, but I think they're gonna really get hit if they miss that Christmas deadline. And with the COVID delays and shipping, like, man. But people download this shit now anyway, so maybe it doesn't matter.
Well, I think that could help them out, like if people buy it, like because of this COVID thing.
Yeah, they buy it
'Cause I feel
digitally.
like a lot more people are playing games than they used to. Like I had a friend of mine
That's true.
who got laid off, and he because the unemployment thing, he's able to basically do nothing, get paid.
Well, yeah, I started playing fucking Minecraft. Well, I mean, I was doing it before then, but I got more into it recently because of COVID. Apparently, their stocks fell 25% recently after this announcement. CG
know they're-
Product Red.
Didn't he know they're a publicly traded company? I thought
Me
they were
neither.
private.
We should invest in them.
Yeah, I have to look into that. I probably should.
That actually would be a smart investment, I think,
It depends.
if
The
they
game-
blow up.
I think right now the problem is the expectation is pretty much sky high, and if they don't meet those expectations, that's going to be an issue.
Right.
But how much is their stock going for right now?
We can check that. Well, I'm just seeing because apparently I'm trying to read if this headline's fake news or not. It said CG Product Red has lost billions owing to Cyberpunk 2077 delays. I think they're just talking about billions in stocks.
I don't. Maybe people cancel their orders or something,
Nah, I don't.
or like
think
maybe they had fulfillment contracts with Walmart and like retailers. Because I can't see them as being a public. I don't think they're a publicly traded company. I mean, I don't think
so.
they're
Yeah,
that big.
I don't see how they would be, but you never know. Let's go to the Robin Hood. And then we'll shut her down soon. I have one more thing I was going to talk about, and then we'll shut her down.
All right.
I'm still here. If you
Yeah, if you
Yeah,
want to talk about
what's going
anything,
on?
go for it.
all I was gonna say too is like I don't know, but like maybe it's just because I'm busy with college, but like I don't have as much time to game as I used to. So like that's
me
another
neither.
reason. That's like another reason why I haven't gotten a console because like the one thing I like about my iPad and the one thing I like about my, phone and even my MacBook to a certain extent is, I can take those things with me, right? But like with a console, you're tied, to the TV in your house or wherever.
Unless you get a Switch.
True.
That is true, but like if Sony came out with something like the Switch, then I would buy it. But like I don't know, I don't. We only have one TV, in the house, and my parents um they're watching TV and like I only like really the only time I get to game on like a console is when I have the house to myself for like a long weekend or something
Right.
like that.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing
So
too about consoles that you're kind of, even though they can be moved around, you're kind of stuck to the TV.
so like it's not worth like dropping, like and the thing of it is for what they are, they're not that. I mean, I suppose it depends on how much you use them, but like for me, it's just not that affordable. There are only like two or three games I want to play on the PS4, and it's not worth dropping $400 just to play the new Spider-Man game.
Yeah, and these, I honestly, like, I remember, like, when the PS2 and the Wii were coming out, like, those were only, like, I mean, the Wii was cheaper. I remember the PS2 was only, I think, $200. These next-gen consoles are, like, double or triple that price.
Inflation.
There is inflation, yeah, but they are more expensive.
And you have to think too, like back in the day when they like the N64, like those were actually pretty like they
Oh,
were not
yeah.
that far off. Like especially with inflation, like even the games themselves, they would have been more expensive than what we're paying today. So
Oh, and
that's
the games were way less, like, there's way less, there was basically way less work put into it in terms of, like, detail and graphics and everything else, the sound, the music.
Well, it's not even just that. Like, a lot of people forget about this, but like, I've played like emulate games. Like, there is a lot of trash games back in those days, and if you're paying like, the equivalent of like $70 or whatever, possibly more for a fucking game, and then you get like a garbage game, like, no. Like, at least today you have like YouTube and like all this other stuff. But on that sort of note too, back then, computers for the most part, like, they were more expensive, more hard to make yourself, and they didn't have as, like, it was more cost effective to game like on a dedicated console for the most part, because it was a pain in the ass. You had to solder things, especially like back with like the Super Nintendo and stuff. Like, they did have games and stuff like Doom, but like on the PC, but like it was a lot more difficult to game on PCs back then. I would say compared to today, where it's pretty much there's so much YouTube tutorials, like the parts they interchange a lot better. We only have really one major operating system for video games, not including Mac, because they're not even really fucking in that race for gaming at least. So like, and back then, before the 2000s, like the 90s and like 80s and stuff, you could potentially have like a bunch of different like computer operating systems, like fucking ZX Spectrums and like all these other things, and that would be a pain in the ass for programmers to do shit with, and you have to make sure you get the right game. Like, all in all, it's a lot better now than it was back then, I think. In a lot
the
of ways.
games are way more easily accessible. You can do um, I don't want to say trial, but like basically like a trial, like you can test run it sometimes. But some of these other, those games back in the day, you had to buy it, pick it up at the store, and pop it in. I mean, now you literally just can go on Steam or the PlayStation Store or whatever and just download it.
Well, to be fair though, back then too, they had like blockbusters and stuff a lot more readily available. Like, there is one place I know like near me that does still offer like video game and movie rentals, but that's pretty rare to find. But back then they were everywhere, because especially with, and like that was a big thing with them, like with video games. That was a big ticket item, and that did give you some edge in there, and that was a whole other ecosystem almost. But today,
Do they
you know,
have?
like, yeah. Oh,
Oh, I was gonna keep going.
no, but like today, you do have YouTube videos. Some games do allow trials, not as many as they're used to, though. I feel like I haven't really played a good game trial in a while.
Yeah,
But
I noticed that too. And then also, doesn't PlayStation have a thing now that's kind of like a Netflix for video games, where you like pay a monthly fee to have access to all the games?
I don't know if it's. I know Xbox. There's like a game like they all do something similar to that. Where I don't know if it's every game, but it's like a good portion of them. And that is an interesting thing. I don't know if I'd subscribe to that myself, just because I don't, I don't play enough different games each month for that to be worthwhile. But for some people, that might make sense, like especially if you like playing certain games. But I think they're more for older games. I think not like retro games, but like not your like just released game, because they don't
One
want to
thing
on
that could happen though is like, I don't know if it's you. I know I feel this way, but I think some people are gonna start feeling this way more. Is that everybody wants to play the new Call of Duty, but nobody wants to pay for it because it feels ridiculous that you're basically paying like a yearly fee to play the newest Call of Duty, which is really just the same game but with some slightly different things. So I wonder if some of these game series like Call of Duty will become kind of like software, where you have like a paid option, you can pay it, keep it forever, or a subscription option where you always get the latest one, kind of like the Adobe Creative Cloud but for Call of Duty.
Well, they had like Game Pass, like, or what was it, season passes, but like that was for the what you call it, for the map packs and stuff. Like, at least for the new Call of Duties, like, I don't know, like I enjoyed the last Call of Duty, and I think that one's going to keep going for a while, because honestly they did a really good job. And I played the beta for Black Ops 3 or whatever the fuck it was, or 4, whatever they're calling it now. like the new Cold War. Yeah, and I really wasn't that impressed, like compared to what I saw with Modern Warfare. Now maybe that was just the beta, but I don't know. I feel like the other Call of Duty was just better in general. But I do think that that was a big deal at one point. I think that game companies kind of did see what was going on there with some of it. Like, I think it's didn't Assassin's Creed take a break for a little while.
They did.
Yeah, because that was a major concern. 'Cause, like when you just keep pumping out releases year after year, people are not going to be as interested in actually playing it, or paying out this
happened
money.
to Star Wars. They did a movie every year, and it turned out, whoa, we can't do that.
Yeah, I think that's when you start to see too, like these sort of like indie games or not AAA games, like fucking like the Soul series, like that's what a lot of people like about that. They didn't do it like every single year, but when it did come out, for the most part, they're pretty good games. And it was something unique.
CD Projekt Red. It's like they're like that artist that doesn't release an album, till every 5 years, but when they do, it's a big deal.
Yeah, no, with that game company, like you have to. I mean, you have all those Witcher games. Like I recommend that you play a few of them because, like, really, I don't know. Like the first one was like a dumpster fire. Like at least
It's the third one where shit gets real and it's like a proper game.
I mean, the second one felt like a what you call it, like a trailer or something for the third game.
Yeah.
Like it was actually pretty well done, like visually. I thought it was good, but like it was just way too short. Like the first one, that took me a long time to do. I can look at my Steam statistics at some point, but it was like to beat it once, it took me forever. And the second one, it took me like maybe 30 hours to beat it, which really isn't that much for a game. Now the third one, that one's taken me the longest, and that one's definitely, they put their time into it. I don't know. There's better open world games than that, and honestly too, like that whole genre of open world. Like, I think there's a lot of stuff that calls itself open world, and there's not so many things that actually are open world because a lot of like open world games just it almost feels like mayhem simulators than an actual open world game. And I don't think it did it like. Especially like when you compare it to other games that we have now, like you have Breath of the Wild, and I guess that would have been around that Witcher 3 time too, and like Red Dead Redemption 2. Like, you there?
Yes, I think that came out after Witcher 3.
Breath of the Wild?
I think so. Yeah, let me check.
I think that came out for the Wii U originally, and they ported it over to the Switch. But
yeah. Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. That's the last Zelda. Well, no, there was one other Zelda game after this, wasn't there?
It was like one of those smaller ones that no one really cares about, probably. It was like a port.
Yeah, Breath of the Wild was 2017. Yeah, The Witcher 3 came out way before that.
When did Witcher 3 come out?
It must have been 2015, 14? Yeah, 2015.
Did it?
Yep.
But even then, like, you can still compare it to like some of the other like big open world games that it was a fun, like, it's definitely fun and all, but like there's some things that just get really annoying in there, like the inconsistent fall damage stuff, like original Red Dead Redemption. I think maybe in Red Dead 2 came out before then, or I know the original one did.
Original one, I think so. Red Dead 2 came out recently, like a year or two ago.
Yeah, I mean, there was other open world games, like fucking look at Oblivion.
Yeah, Red Dead 2 was 2018. That was after both Witcher 3 and Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, but like, I don't know, like, there's other open world games that do it significantly better, in my opinion. Like, it feels like if you don't take into account the open world part, it's actually, don't compare it to those games, it's pretty good, and it's probably one of the better of the Witcher ones. But like you compare that to a proper open world game, like we're talking, what you call it, like Elder Scrolls, Fallout, one of those. It doesn't quite meet those expectations for when people think of an open world game.
But what about the time it came out?
Oblivion and Skyrim have been out for. Skyrim came out like a shit long ago. Like that's been out for a while. Even for like 2015, 2016. You know, it like the open world like there's good aspects to it. I just don't think that I think that the open world thing just didn't quite feel there yet with that company, at least. Like, especially when you consider, when you consider stuff now, definitely not. But like even back then, there was some other games and stuff that I feel did it better.
So would you say
Like-
it's kind of a little overrated?
I think so. Like the storyline's great. The storyline's great. The open world needs some work. Because it just doesn't feel like you can really. I don't know. Like the exploration, like the fall damage is like inconsistent and weird. Like, if you're on your horse and you fall off a fucking cliff, you'll survive. But if you like fall off like a little ledge while not, and you have like your fucking shield up, like, you'll survive. Or no, you'll die from that. Like, stuff just doesn't make sense so much with that. Like at least for me, there's some things over here that I feel could have been done better.
Well, I'm Googling Witcher 4, and I'm getting articles, one from just 3 days ago. It says The Witcher 4 is definitely happening.
All right, well, hey, I'll happily be. Well, I just think that it's not going to be starring Geralt.
That's
Or
what
you
they're
won't be-
saying, yeah, that Geralt isn't going to be in it at all. They said CG Projekt Red's hard work at Cyberpunk 2077, but however, the president, Adam Krasinski, has said this year. Oh, shut the fuck up, Ad. Has said this year there's a relatively clear concept for the next Witcher game, and that full production would begin immediately after Cyberpunk 2077. Yeah, so they're making The Witcher 4, but dude, that's not going to come out till another like 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, do you think that CD Projekt Red will grow into a fucking AAA company?
That's what I'm thinking of, and that's why I say the stocks are tempting. Because I could see it. I really could see it. Especially if they make if they make like, not necessarily GTA tier money, because that's like on another stratosphere, but like kind of like the next big thing with their Cyberpunk game, and then Witcher 4, I could see them being, AAA.
Well, the way they're making out that Cyberpunk game, it's either going to be fucking amazing, or if it's not, it is going to tank the stocks. And I don't know if they'll be able to recover if it's not like a fucking masterpiece, because that's what people are expecting right now.
Exactly. It's a make or break game for that company.
And I think that's the scary part, because it's been so overhyped. You got Keanu Reeves on there. You got like this, talking to Elon Musk with the Cybertruck. Like, I hope
the Cybertruck. That doesn't really have to do with the Cybertruck.
Well, no, like, didn't they mention that was going to be in the game? Like, there was some back and forth on Twitter.
Oh
over
yeah,
that.
yeah. I think it is actually.
And that sort of shit that drives,
Hype.
it gives them press, but also drives the hype, because it's like, oh, it's going to be this really awesome game. And I imagine if it's shit, and like Elon Musk will be like, why do you put my truck in your shit game? Like, he'd probably say something like that. It's like, don't divide my stocks, bro, just because you made a game like shit. And he'd probably say something like that. I couldn't blame him either, because that's,
Well, see, the reason I'm not too worried is because people that have seen the gameplay footage, like played in front of them in private screens, have said like it's amazing, game-changing shit.
I hope.
I hope
mean-
too. I'm not saying it's certain, but I'm just saying that there's. I don't want to say it's a safe risk, but it's like it's not as risky as it may seem, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, I'll take a look at their stocks at some point. I'll see if it's worth. How much was it valued at?
I forget. I sent you the link.
I'm in the middle of fucking hell. Cyberpunk, man.
We'll put a pause on that and then open up your stonks.
All right, well, I'll take them. I'll take a look at once I'm done this bullshit.
Cyberpunk 2077 received more pre-orders than The Witcher 3. 1/3 of PC sales were done through GOG.com. That's insane.
Well, yeah, that's
1/3.
their main way of making money. That's gonna be interesting how that plays out.
Yeah.
Because people do forget about that. That's the other game marketplace.
Oh my god. Anime.
What is he Are they making like a cyberpunk anime now?
It says adaptations include comic book series, card game, and an anime.
Oh boy. Your new favorite anime after Samurai Jack?
It's not freaking anime. When I get my car back, I'll crash it into your home. I don't care. I'll tow my car just so that you don't say that again. One of my coworkers said that to him, pissed me off. I'm like, dude, get off your ass and knock doors. Stop shit on my show.
Oof.
Let's look it up. Cyberpunk 20. Ooh, I could say that now since I'm like his boss, technically. He was trying to tell me what to do today. I was like, no, honey. No. Cyberpunk 2077 anime series in the work at Netflix.
Of course, Netflix wants to make a fucking anime series.
Dude, they're making this game big as shit. Coming 2022. Yeah, this game is like, it's insane. Because it's not just a game. There's a comic, there's a fucking show, and there's, all these like artists putting music in it. I think they're making like music just for the game, like ASAP Rocky, some other big names. It's like, dude, it's a huge bet, and I think this is what video games are gonna become. Is like, I don't want to say they're like movies because they kind of are already in a way. The industry's bigger than people realize, but I think you're gonna see more of this where when a video game comes out, there's also a show, a movie, in addition to all the merchandise.
Yeah, no, I mean it's definitely a big business. Like they've already made a shit ton of money. Like I think, what was it like? Didn't they already cross over at some point in the world, like in terms of making more money than movies at one point?
I think so, which is like weird to think about, and I think it's surprising that they don't feel bigger than movies. Or are they?
Well, I mean, you have to think too. Like, it's easy to go make a movie because you have, you don't have to like necessarily, unless it's like an animated movie or like a lot of special effects.
It's easy to make a movie. I'll remember that.
Comparatively to a video game where you have to go and like,
yeah,
especially like a AAA game where you have to go and like model every single fucking like hair follicle. Unless you're making like an animated movie, which is a separate thing. But usually those things, that's a different story. But it's a different thing, and like if you have to go and code everything, make sure people can't like break it and hack it and all this other shit, stuff you don't have to worry about with movies necessarily. It's a lot of extra work.
It says, this is an article from 2019. Video games are now bigger than music and movies combined.
And it's only now grown because can you imagine with COVID?
Absolutely.
No one's going out to the movie theaters. Everyone's got, like, a lot of people have fucking game systems.
And then there's also consider the fact that with video games, there's now streaming's a whole big business because of fucking video games. Like, game streaming was never a thing till all these video games were on these newer consoles were blowing up and all that shit. And it's just, man, it's wild.
Yeah,
I almost want to get into like making games or something like that now.
You do
I know
not
I don't want to, but I think my job is hard now.
Like my brother he didn't even make the game, he's like a fucking QA tester, but I know people who like, I think they made like one of the guys who was working, my brother was working at Elder Scrolls Online, they both went to the same place. They both worked at the same place, but like, it's not easy. They're probably one of the better ones, like especially AAA studio. Like there's lawsuits and shit all the time about like unpaid overtime and this and that, and like working conditions are pretty terrible.
It's like
Like,
worse. It's harder than my job, I bet.
Oh yeah, because these people could be making a shit ton of money coding for like Facebook or Amazon. Got to think about that too, like the opportunity cost, and they're not getting paid as much as those software developers, even though they're probably doing like similarly hard things, if not harder. Because there's AI in video games, there's all this other shit you have to worry about, and like the crunch time, it gets really insane over here, whereas you won't have that as much for some of those other companies that are just like sort of maintaining services.
What does crunch time mean?
Like that's right, like probably right now for probably actually probably would have been a month ago to right now for like CD Project Red, like when the game's about to come out, it goes into crunch time. And you're gonna be working like insane overtime and basically kind of like what actually probably what you have right now with like the campaign.
That's what I was thinking.
But
It says right here, actually I found some of this article. During crunch periods are times when developers are trying to finish a game. That's what it sounds like. It's like the final stage of the game, the finishing of it. 35% report 50-hour to 59-hour work weeks, while 28% report 60 to 69 hours, and 13% declared weeks exceeding 70 hours at the office. Over half the sample reported that they were in crunch more than twice in the past 2 years.
Yep. It's not I mean, similar to what you have going on right now, but these people, it's pretty common and it happens all the time. It probably lasts probably around the same time of the year. Like, see, you actually probably, if you could handle what you're doing right now, you could probably do it if you had the skills to do that.
Gee, I
That's a
can't.
lot
I
of
have only
programming.
3 more days left, and I can't handle it.
Yeah, that's a lot of fucking programming to like very, very tough.
Hey, at least they're not knocking doors.
Oh shit! Yeah, that's cheap. I'll put. Let me see. Do I have any spare money I can throw that way?
Well, we're going to close her down since we're getting late, and I know we all have a lot to do. I'm going to buy those Star Wars games, and we got to figure out the show for Tuesday. We definitely need to do that. Well, we're going to close this down, shut her down, and see you guys on Tuesday.
Hey, thanks for watching and or listening.
Yep. Like and share, subscribe. Same with Sam shit. He's awesome. Sam_NWGC on Twitter.
Yep.
Nailed it. Follow him. He's great. See you guys. Have a nice night. And wash your hands. Now. And we're ended.